What up, Doe One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast. We are just, I am setting up the show very briefly here. We'll do my regular open in a moment, but I'm wanting to test a few things with Matt before we go live today. So come on into the video. Hope everybody is all right this evening. Just having a look, because last week when we did our college video, I recorded it and I was able to put up all the stats and everything from the games we were looking at, so I don't have to relay it all laboriously to you through the screen, and you can watch along as we're doing it. But obviously, Matt is streaming it this week. We're live, so you can ask us whatever you want, and we're here live on air. You don't have to chat with me in the chat all the time. And yeah, so if we just bear with, so I'm going to share my screen now, Matt, and then we'll see
Yeah, that's fine. Give
what
it a go.
does on here. So I'm sharing now. I just need to see if it's coming up on the stream itself.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
It's
There we
just
go.
not showing the very bottom. No, actually it's showing everything.
Ah, there we go. Perfect. All right.
All right. So as soon as you're ready, if you count me in and I'll hit record, or I'll just hit record and we'll go, shall we? Or you can hit record, I guess, but it means you upload
No,
it.
if you know, you can hit record and then we'll go. So
Okay.
I
Three.
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oh, hang on.
oh shit.
I have to be host, apparently, in order to record. So can you
Can you co-host? You can co-host.
Well, when I pressed record, it said you have to ask to be host, so that's what it is.
Have you asked?
Yes. Please can I be host?
Sorry about the very lack of professionalism here, folks. We will get there eventually. Host tools.
I don't know where the host tools are on this bloody thing.
Oh look, there's a remove participant button. That'll be good for future. It doesn't.
Oh, I've reclaimed being the host,
Yes.
and then you are co-host.
So hang on, let's leave it like this. If I can still let me share again,
Yeah.
and I'll see if as a co-host I can share and it'll still do what we want it to do. So I'm sharing again.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, is it doing it?
It's going. Yeah.
Yay!
Woo!
Hope everybody's doing all right this evening. Usually we cold open this show. I don't think we've ever done like an intro to it before. So, all right.
Did you share the link on Twitter?
Yes, I did.
Cool. All right. Okay, recording. Hopefully this will work. 3, 2, 1.
Recording in progress.
All right. Okay. What up, Doe One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where one pride goes worldwide. My name is Anthony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast, Swamp Thing. This is our week 2 review. And Ryan, week 1, a week for the defensive purists, a lot of low-scoring games, a lot of grindy action. Week 2, bit more on offer for those who like the high scoring games, but we've had upsets, we've had thrills, the season is really up and going, and we're still in the non-cons.
Yeah, a lot of teams. There's been a lot of shock results, or at least, and even more like very nearly. Like a lot of teams have started the season very rusty. We've seen a lot of lopsided scorelines this week. So yeah, they're definitely starting to like get into the groove of things now. The high scoring games are coming soon. We'll be having some, I imagine there'll be some ding dong, rock'em sock'em scores soon.
Exactly, and I mean, week 3 that we'll talk about, so it's the week 2 review today, but week 3, which we'll preview in a bit, there are some teams whose season are already pretty much on the line, and there are must-win games already, which just sort of underscores what's gone on. But as I said, usually the non-con season, it's very difficult to find games to talk about because there are so many one-sided blowouts. Well, this is kind of my book. These are all the games that I really want to talk about this evening, and that doesn't even include the main ones. There are a lot of games that were either upsets, they were very close, or they were part of the pick watch, or they were just very good. So sadly, if your team won 50 or 60-0 this week, like TLC, we don't have no scrubs on here, so we will get to it. Got a bit of news to go through as well. Let's just get all the housekeeping out of the way because we got a load to go through today. Roar the Lions UK Discord. If you want in on that, let us know. We will fire you across a link for that. The main podcast, it was the Green Bay Packers review show the other day, but let's not talk about that. We're in our happy spot talking about college football. We're not going to let the Lions upset us today. Don't forget to like and sub to everything, Twitch, YouTube, all that good sort of stuff. We're approaching 2,000 on YouTube, so if you could get us to that mark, that would be great. We're part of Lions Nation Unite as well, so help support Herman Moore and his project there. We're a Twitch affiliate, we're monetized on YouTube. We've got a tip jar. You want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we just love having you in the building to talk ball, especially college ball as well. We got the feedback form as well, so if you want any, if any feedback about the shows that you want to tell us, just let us know, and we shall take it all on board. I was to give you a shout out if you're watching. Send us a message. We'll shout you out as with things go on. So, but yeah, let's crack on. So we've got some news to go through first before we get into the action, and there's a theme on this week's show a little bit, Ryan. It doesn't happen very often to us, but it appears that people from among the college football ethos and the world are listening to us a little bit because the big piece of news that came out this week regarding the transfer portal and changes that might be coming to the transfer portal. The NCAA FBS Oversight Committee voted last Thursday on potential major changes that are going to come to the transfer portal. Specifically, we are going to move to a singular transfer portal in January, and they are going to eliminate the spring window entirely, which is what me and Ryan were talking about over the summer, saying it's ridiculous having to have one instead. So this proposed loan transfer window would be a 10-day period only that opens on January the 2nd, 2026, one day after the college football playoff quarterfinals are completed. The Division One Administrative Committee must approve the legislative changes before they can take effect. The vote is expected to occur October the 1st, so about 3 weeks from now. And as part of these changes, the committee is also proposing making the entire month of December a recruiting dead period. Coaches would still be able to have contact with recruits, but they would not be permitted to do on or off-campus recruiting visits or evaluations. Not looking at you, Michigan. But right, finally, what seems to be some common sense coming in the building from the NCAA. Obviously, December is a notoriously hard period for coaching staffs. You've got high school recruiting, got to sign your letters of intent. You've got the portal that opens up really early. You've got the playoffs to deal with, bowl games to deal with. All this has just led to so many teams losing out because of the sheer amount of work they're trying to get through. That's going now, potentially. All of December done in just one window for people to move in the portal. No, group of five teams getting raided in April from a spring portal and then having to replace all their starters because big teams have decided they need guys in. Like, this is what we've been talking about for a long time, and hopefully, finally, they're going to bring it into effect. One single window, 10 days, make your move, or you're staying.
It definitely feels like it would be good for bowl games because it'll basically mean if you're not draft eligible, you're gonna have to play if you want to leave because you have to go out. It's your chance to shine. If you know that there's going to be one window coming in a couple of weeks and you're playing in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl and you were thinking about, not had a great season, I'll just sit out. But now it's like, well, you'll get one transfer window. Yeah, like I say, you'll get one chance. Like I say, if you go out there and put a show on January 2nd, put your name in the portal. It'd be too late to do it later. Like I say, it'd be too late to dither about. If you're going to go out with a bang, then you should do it. So I'm like to think it's going to get a lot of guys that are going to just stay there, play, because they know that December will be dead. Like you say, you're going to have very little chance. You're not going to be able to go to any campuses. Like I say, you're not going to be able to do anything like that. It's just going to be you may have one ball game left, and then like I say, that will be where you make your mark, and then those 10 days will be insane. Like I say, it's going to be really difficult for, like I say, the people doing all the admin to make sure all the people, like I say, have got the right amount of credits, the right amount. Oh, honestly, for that ADs and that, it's going to be a nightmare to try cram it all into one 10-day window. But as you say, it'll mean when teams come into May or March and April and they're working out who's the starting quarterback, who the rest of the starter is. Like I say, it'll be a case of, well, people catch like, oh, it's fine. We don't win the starting job. Let's hit the portal. No, you won't. Like I say, because you're either the starter or you're the backup. So you can't go with that mentality anymore. Like I say, those depth pieces, it's going to hurt a lot of guys. Like I say, don't get me wrong, there'll be a lot of players that suffer. But then at the same time, don't commit to big schools.
No.
Say all these like 2 and 3 stars, don't take Ohio State. Because if you know that, like I said, that you ain't going to see the field in spring camp and then you can't enter the portal, then go to a G5 school. You're going to have to lower your expectations a little bit with only one portal window now because you will miss that opportunity straight out of high school. You are on that team one way or another when you're a freshman coming out of high school because there is no spring portal if you've made a bad decision. So you're going to have to get smart. Parents are going to have to probably get a little bit more involved, sit them down and say, look, like I say, you will have one opportunity. Like I say, you cannot afford to waste your first year not being at the school you're happy with and sit the whole season. Because that's it. You will get there, like say March, come all the way till January. You can't change.
No, exactly. I like this because again, I think what was it? Two playoff teams lost their backup quarterbacks to the portal during the playoffs last year. So, you're in high stakes playoff games, your backup wanders off, your starter gets hurt, then you're screwed, which is not your fault. So I like that it protects the playoffs,
Also, I
it
mean, so
protects
this
the
doesn't really go
bowls.
hand in hand with an expanded playoffs.
Mm,
Because if you add more teams to the playoffs, you've got a whole other round. So that's a whole extra week. So I imagine, like I say, I imagine this rule gets approved, but the day it opens the portal, it's going to have to be flexible.
yeah,
They're going
I
to have
think.
to be able to push it back a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think as long as it's a 10-day period, maybe a little later, that's fine. You're still in January, you've still got plenty of time to adjust to it. But for coaches, it means they're not worrying about the end of season. Like I say, it raises bowl season because it still gives you stakes to play in. And again, like I said, it might have a positive impact on players going, right, I'm not just going to sit on this roster because I can leave whenever I want. But it's a massive protector for group of five teams as well. If they get through that 10-day portal with their players intact, they're not coming to spring camp and then losing the tie. I think what was it when Alabama took Graham Nicholson from Miami of Ohio 2 or 3 years ago, the kicker. Like you come into camp, you've got your Luke Grozer award-winning kicker on your side, and then you lose him. Then what are they meant to do? Just find another kicker over the off season? This should be good for the group of five.
Yeah, definitely. It means they don't because also as well, like I say, we've now seen because the spring portal, they're not playing games. They're cancelling their spring games because there's spies. There's
Mm,
people sat in the crowd spying, and then literally they're, well, whether they should be or not, they're DMing players. Like, do you want to enter the portal? I think I can get you in. Like now, if you can play that spring game and you've got no worry about, or we can have fans because we know everyone here is going to see these players play games and no one's here to try steal them. Because
no.
we've seen multiple teams this year go, we're not playing games because, well, yeah, we don't want people looking at us. We don't want people seeing us.
And it's going to stop players, and it's going to stop Nico's situations. Like Nico doesn't bitch about his NIL if he's not got a window to escape in. You're past January, you get to April, May. If you start belly aching about how much you're earning, you're going to sit and you're not going to play anywhere. So hopefully, from an NIL standpoint, it'll have an effect there as well.
Yeah, it's going to be. I actually think. I mean, I thought at some point they were going to bring in these NIL clauses where you'd owe the company money if you moved around a lot. This will nullify that problem already because you get to say you'll get an NIL deal, you'll sign it, and well, you ain't leaving the school you've agreed to go to. So there's
No,
no jumping ship, there's no getting out of commitments. I
no.
say that because in the near future we're going to start to see a lot of companies and sponsors and that come after players for
Mm.
clawing back money. Like you didn't meet your commitments, you didn't play, or you just dropped out, you ditched the school straight away. And yeah, it's going to get messy, but they're trying to probably streamline this whole process as well of players earning money.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's sensible. We've said it should go down to a single window. 10 days is a lot better. It's proven it's working because Ryan Day's come out and said it's balderdash, but who benefits from a spring transfer portal more than anybody? Big teams when they find holes on the rosters and they can buy a starter off a lower team. So that proves that it's doing right. The only adjustment I would make, and we've also talked about this, is if a player is deemed surplus to a roster after spring, that he be given special dispensation to be put on a portal by his coach if he doesn't want him. I think for me, and I'm sure you agree, that would be the only change I'd make to this. Because, like I say, if a guy does lose his roster spot in spring, it is only fair he does have a chance elsewhere, but only if the coach decides that's the case.
Yeah, there's no just packing your bags and leaving campus and going
Mm,
home. It should be
mm,
right, discipline issues. Let's say you have a fallout, or let's say the player commits what the coach considers misconduct on the team, and they're like, we can't work you anymore. You put them on a list. Scrubbles can speak to the player, find out what happened. They can offer him a place. Like, say stuff like that, where, like, say, personal issues, or yeah, let's say, yeah, personal issues. Something happens, let's say, God forbid, let's say, my mum dies. Like say, well, like say, I'm in spring camp or after spring camp, or my dad's he's mowed over, like say, can't work and I need to go out, my mum will go to school, like say, an exemption list. Like say, you're not stranded halfway across the country and yeah, your family's in turmoil on the other side of the country and you suddenly need to relocate to school home. There's a place for that. Because right now you'd kind of just being screwed.
yeah, exactly. But anyhow, we'll leave that for there because we have a lot of actual football to talk about. But yeah, new proposals for the portal for one 10-day window at the start of January, heartily endorsed here by us. The only other bit of news I wanted to quickly go through was an ESPN article done about the effect of Travis Hunter on the college football game, specifically to two-way players, because now Travis has gone to the NFL. There's been a notable explosion of two-way players in college football now, Ryan. Specifically was mentioned that Utah, Smith Snowden, who started as their nickel when he was initially there, and Lander Barton, who's a linebacker, are both playing offense now. Smith Snowden had a rushing touchdown this weekend just gone. He's been used as a receiver as well. He's still playing his nickel spot as well. And then outside of that, we have two of the more known ones. So Coy Carp down at Minnesota. Hello, mile marker, if you're in the building. He's playing receiver and safety now, despite the fact he was he was an all Big Ten safety just last year. And then you've got Martel Height as well, the Vanderbilt defensive back. He's an all SEC return specialist. He is now working as a receiver as well, also has been a DB. And, kind of love him or hate him, right? Travis Hunter, the effect is real. College coaches are now going, hang on. I do have players, and like, because a lot of these kids play two ways in high school anyhow, and they kind of settle on one position when they come to college. But there's guys out there now seeming to get ahead of the curve who are moving some of these players into dual threat roles, and it seems like it's going to become more of a thing now. But there are some noticeable names out there playing two ways, and they're looking good.
Yeah, like I say, in high school, it's normal. Like I say, you play less games, it's less physical. It's easier on the body. Obviously, they're just kids back then. And obviously, when they play enough snaps at a position, they're obviously classed as an athlete. They don't have a position when they get a star rating, so they have to then commit to a position. I mean, two ways to look at this. Travis Hunter is kids think they can play both ways. Some of these kids think they can. And then there are some that genuinely can do it, but I don't think they should. I think sometimes you're spreading yourself too thin and taking yourself away from what you're best at. Now, yeah, Corey Perich has got one reception for 12 yards. I think, like I say, officially this season. Just be a return and a safety. I think I think it's a mistake for someone like him because he was one of his best at a position. And I'd hate to see him pick up an unnecessary injury when he's not playing safety. And then, because like I say, an injury to him would cripple the Golden Gophers. Because like I say, he's an elite return man and safety. But yeah, there's some of them that I just, I know a lot of them try, but to see the next kid that can just take the sheer snap count, of like I say, is just, yeah, it's going to be a while before coaches, like I say, let anyone play all the snaps, like 40, 50 snaps a game on both sides of the ball, and they just don't leave the field and don't get injured. It's just going to be a proper anomaly Don't get me wrong, a lot are going to try it, and a lot of them have got the body skills. It's always going to be a DB and receiver because their positions have a lot of common practices. A lot of them have a lot of translatable skills. Most positions don't work. Like say, you may get it on the defensive line as well, like say guards, nose tackles, things like that. Like say, primarily blockers. But yeah, some of them will try it. A lot of them, it's probably coaches think looking at him in like spring and be like, I think I'd like him on offense. I think I'd like to see what they can do with him. So they'll probably try not push them into it, but they'll try be like, I do want you to try this. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
going to be very interesting to see how it does it. But yeah, if anyone can do it to the high level Travis did it and replicate the snap count in the coming years, yeah, I'll take my hat off to them. A
Yeah.
lot will try and realize it's not for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But with maybe a trend we're going to see a little bit more of, like I say, they're not really doing too much on both sides right now. But
The NFL though is not on board with it. I do not think it'll help anyone's draft stock.
no, it's
I know Liam Cohen has said this week that he'll play more defense, and like I said, he's going to try it both ways. But a lot of GMs are just going to be like, "Nope, it's a gimmick." I
no,
just want one
yeah.
player to be a standout at a position.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. It's a developing thing. Like I say, it's
Yeah.
early days yet for a lot of
You
teams. We'll
get
see
someone
whether
and he makes standout plays every week on both sides of the ball, and I'll probably change my mind.
yeah, yeah. Like you say, Koi Peric, I think, has got like two or three receptions on the year, something like that only so far. But yeah, he is much better in his safety spot. But yeah, the rise of two-way players, you're going to see more in college football going forward, the effect of Travis Hunter therefore. You're right, let's move on. We have a lot to talk about football-wise this week, so we're going to dive right down into week two, and I'm going to try and make some semblance of normality out of this. Last year, we used to do our main games, our upsets, our near upsets, the games we want to talk about, stuff like that. So I've tried to structure them this week, but there's only one game you're going to start with, and there's only one team that's getting talked about. And I'd like to think that, we set a trend here, right? This is a team that we were looking at years ago when their head coach took over, and we've been following very closely, and they have taken the biggest scalp in a long time in this program. And of course, we're talking about the University of South Florida Bulls and their head coach, Alex Golesh, fresh off a ranked victory over Boise State last week. We were talking about them like we were talking about Hawaii the week before, saying you've gone out and got a big win, but can you continue your momentum? And you've got two big games against in-state rivals next week against the Miami of Florida Hurricanes, but this week it was against the Florida Gators. And I mean, they only went and won in the swamp in what was a very this is one of the lower scoring games of the week, but really one of the standout ones from this point. The Bulls went in and they fought and they clawed and they managed to come away with an 18-6 win and 18-16 win. And this was not pretty. The first half was a mess. It was a trade of 5 field goals, 3 from Florida, 2 from USF, and they were long, sustained drives, but neither offense could finish. USF started this one off with a 9 play, 31-yard drive, which ended in a punt but took over 3 minutes off the clock. The next 3 drives went for field goals. First, Florida, 14 plays, 81 yards, over 6 minutes on the ball, ended in a field goal. South Florida respond, 15 plays, 55 yards, nearly 6 minutes off the clock, ends in a field goal. Florida's next drive, 13 plays, 57 yards, nearly 8 minutes off the clock, and once again kept to a field goal. Then USF went 3 and out and punted. Florida then had another 8 play, 64-yard drive, which took 3.5 minutes off the clock, but again ended in a field goal only. And with less than 2 minutes to go before the half, USF responded. They had an 8 play, 68-yard drive, which went really quickly. It was in less than 2 minutes. They were able to nail the field goal just before the half. So it went in 9-6, no touchdowns, no nothing like that. And it took till the second half for this thing to really come alive. Both teams went out early in the second half. Both had punts. Florida went 3 plays, -8 yards, couldn't get anything going. USF a little bit better, 5 plays, 24 yards, but they punted themselves. But then the game started to turn. DJ Lagway got picked off by, I think it was Deshaun Rucker in the USF secondary. Both teams punted again. We're getting to the end of the third quarter, and the game's outstanding play. So Keyshawn Singleton, one of the emerging wide receivers, along with Chaz Nimrod at the USF Bulls. He's nicknamed Baby Calvin Johnson, and I know a lot of people get this thing, but he is 6'3", 212 pounds. He's a redshirt sophomore this year. His shoe size is 14 and a half. His glove size, he is 3 triple XL. He has hands which are bigger than my face. Big shot downfield from Byron Brown, the USF quarterback. Keyshawn Singleton high points this catch. They kind of catch Florida trying to sub guys off the field. The secondary's not ready, but Keyshawn Singleton high catches this thing. The safety and the corner take each other out. He houses it for a 66-yard touchdown to blow this thing open. It's 13-9 at that point to USF. Florida then screw up a punt on their next drive, a wild snap right over the punter's head, goes nearly 40 yards back into the end zone, ends up going out the back of the end zone for a safety. Now, Florida do get back into this. It's a 40-yard punt return they have, which is tacked on by a 15-yard penalty for hitting a player out of bounds from USF, and they're able to get the touchdown to put themselves back in front again. And this thing comes down to the last sort of 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. USF have a chance to go in front. Nico Grammatica, the kicker, they give him a shot from 58. He nails it on target. The thing falls about a yard short, and then Florida just start doing a lot of Florida things. So they throw 2 incompletions on the next drive and go 3 and out. They basically take no time off the clock whatsoever. There was a blatant drop through, went through the hands of Verdell, one of the receivers, but USF basically got the ball back with 2 minutes 22 to work with, down 1. They started at their own 11. It was a good punt from Florida to get them there, but before they've even gotten a yard from their own offense, Florida penalties for defensive pass interference and for spitting take USF all the way from their own 11 out to their 40. So they take them out of harm's way, put them near midfield. There's a screen to running back Alvin Isaac. That goes 30 yards. He breaks 4 tackles down the Florida sideline. Then a slant to Joshua Porter goes for 12. USF get all the way down to the Florida 20. 2 6-yard runs get a first down, and then USF just start running the ball, running the ball, running the ball. They drain the Gators' timeouts. They drain the clock to get it all the way down to about 2 seconds, and they leave Nico Grammatica with a simple 20-yard chip shot to win it as USF walk off Florida, and they take down their second-ranked team in a row. And they are only the 3rd team in the history of the FBS to be unranked and to beat 2 ranked teams in a row. This is not something that happens very often. They're not going to be able to extend that record because they are now a ranked team themselves. But, right, this was a program. When Alex Golesh came to USF 3 years ago, they'd won 4 games in 3 combined seasons before he arrived. They were looked at very much as an afterthought, very much as a joke, and it's been a long process for him, but he won 14 games in his first 2 years. He went 7-6, 7-6, back-to-back bowl wins. He's now 16-12 as USF's head coach, and he started off his 3rd season with back-to-back wins over ranked teams. It's not pretty at times. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing looking football on the world, but this is a program that has garnered mental toughness, physical toughness. It doesn't know when it's beaten. And my God, they made Florida work for everything in this game and ultimately took advantage of mistakes and put them away. And what a start to the season this is for USF.
Yeah, it's been a tremendous start to the season against 2 massive opponents, 2 very physical, 2 opponents that really have tested them and, like I say, taken them all the way. But yeah, they've taken it in their stride. They've shown composure. They've Most of their opponents, about I said, have beaten themselves. In two outings, they've been very disciplined. Like I said, they've not lost their heads. They've not. There's been very few silly penalties. They've not put themselves in holes. They've not made life harder than it needs to be for the most part. And it helps right now that they've got one of the most. They've got a quarterback right now that is emerging and he's getting a lot of chatter, a lot of buzz. People are looking at him like saying the NFL interest, well, it's growing. There is no doubt that a 6'3", 225 quarterback that runs like Derrick Henry will not get a lot of love when it comes to scouts and when it comes to NFL Combine. And Alex Golesh right now, he's getting the very best out of him. Is just a multifaceted weapon. Like he can get it done with his arm, get it done with his legs. He doesn't shy away from contact. He's very well. And yeah, some of those key pieces, like say standout players, like say Schuler, he's already got 21 tackles in 2 games. He's their leader in that general in the middle. And you got guys like Singleton, that new guy that offers a really serious deep threat on the outside, you go-to man. But yeah, they've been outstanding so far and they fully deserve to rank. On the flip side, Florida, I say their defense for the most part was very good. It slowed down an offense that has been very dangerous and potent in its first outweek meeting. So they did everything they could. They gave their offense multiple chances, but Lagway has started this season very sluggish. Like I say, he has not come out of the blocks at all. And we saw him finish last year strong. We thought, yeah, proper Heisman contender. Right now, it feels like the pressure is growing. It's a pressure cooker right now in the swamp. And Billy Napier, from a guy that probably ended last season thinking he's pretty safe, yeah, he can't be. Like I said, because this start of the season has not been great, and this loss for him will be pretty detrimental. And the end of the game, just awful. I think back to Marco Wilson throwing that LSU player's shoe to extend the drive for the game-winning score. The spitting. You've just seen what happened at Jalen Carter. Like you say, big flag, get tossed. Like I say, you also extend a drive that was already at 11. They had to go all the field to get into field goal range, and you helped them do it. And like I said, then a pass interference. Like I say, just shooting yourselves in the foot, giving them free yardage, knowing that there's loads of time left on the clock. Like I said, that you're going to have to be the one to stop it in timeouts. That last drive just, it was a cataclysm of errors, constantly making life hard themselves. And in the end, yeah, it came down to a fairly simple chip shot and USF walk it off and get their first win in the swamp. What was it like 18 years? I don't know if they've ever, like, it's been a couple of decades since they've won at Florida.
It's a very long. I can't remember exactly. It is a long time. Shout out to Brent and Danny Macker who are in the building. Hopefully now all on your screens you can see. So again, for those who didn't see these last week, game on paper. This is where you go for all your stats on stuff. Shows you everything you want to, but tail of the tape for Florida. You look at the team stats there, and yards per play on offense, only 5.67. That's in the 40 percentiles there. Your explosive play rate as a power four team against a group of five team is 3%. That's nothing. Your third down success rate, 29%. Your defensive run stuff rate is 4%. That is 0 percentile. They did not stop USF running the football. You see here the breakdown of it all. And, they didn't have to run it all the time, but 27 rushes, 128 yards, nearly going at 5 yards per carry. The dynamic dual threat quarterback that you've got there. And most importantly, USF won the turnover battle. A pick from DJ. No picks from Byron Brown whatsoever. Just those little things that turn games. When you win by 2 points and your turnover luck is 4 points, kind of goes to show it just takes that one play and everything comes to fruition there. But, we talk about the QBs. Everyone's excited about Lagway and what he can do. But Byron Brown, he was the first quarterback Golesh had at this program. He broke 12 school records the first year that they were together on this team. He had that horrible leg injury last year. He's barely had any time to practice for this season whatsoever. He's not been training very much. Comes back and knocks off two ranked teams. I mean, he's only thrown one touchdown pass so far, but he takes deep shots downfield. He's clearly got the arm. He's got the skill set. He's got the dual threat mobility. And more importantly, Rye, he's not turning the ball over. The ball security critical with a guy who's a vet. He might be the most underrated quarterback in the entirety of the group of five. He's got NFL upside, and he showed it in this game.
Yeah, I think he's got strong NFL upside. He's one of those quarterbacks. He's very conscious of making mistakes, as you say. He does not put the ball in harm's way. If he doesn't like it, he takes off. He just tucks and runs and takes what he can get. And he doesn't run for the sideline. He just runs through a linebacker, runs through a safety. Like I say, as a pro, that will alarm people. Like I say, he's super physical. And like I say, he will pick up injuries, but right now he doesn't care. He'll put it all on the line. He'll lay the body out there to make the plays. And yeah, he is someone that he just moves the ball very well. Like I say, he's not scoring tons on his own. There's not huge splash plays, but he's putting them in the red zone with a chance to make plays and also work the clock. So right now he's working a very efficient offset. It's not a massively, it's not hugely heavy scoring. It won't be a juggernaut offense this year, but it will be efficient. It will take its chances when they come, and they will play the long game where they make sure when that zeros are clocking, they're the one holding the ball, and they want to be the last one to touch the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And where does this program go now? It's basically got a free shot at Miami Hurricanes. I mean, it can't extend its record of being an unranked team beating ranked teams, but you've got to say the Americans on the table now. You go beat two ranked teams like this. I guess that's his last major stop he's got to do now. You've got to bring the conference title home now if you're going to do this for it to be significant. If you go 4-4 in the American, which he has done for the last 2 years, again after this, still good wins, but it kind of takes the shine off it a little bit. Got to be better this time. You've got to go the whole way.
Yeah, as you say, the Miami game, it won't have any impact on their winning the American. It's a total free hit. They were not expected to beat Florida. They definitely won't be expected to beat Miami. And that makes them very dangerous. Simple fact is that no one expects them out. They're already been written off. And that means they can just go out there, execute their game, and potentially cause one of the biggest upsets in the country. And that's fine by them. But ultimately, if you're them, you're already looking past Miami. So, like I say, you're
Mm.
looking at games like, say, you've got Charlotte, North Texas, you've got FIU, Memphis. Like I said, as soon as you get into conference, that's where I'm really going to judge Alex. That's where I'm going to judge this team on how well it competes. Like I said, because if they're going to be that G5 playoff representative, it doesn't matter what they do against Florida, it's going to be winning the American. And then they will rightfully have their name in the hat and be in those discussions later on in the season. But yeah, these are all shiny, well, yeah, bells and whistles wins, but they will not be what keeps him his job. Job security won't come from the non-cons. It will
No.
be, can you get to just make the title game. If you
Mm.
make the title game, the fans will be delighted and it will show real progress inside the American. That has got to be the baseline. You've got to be there in the big dance whether you win or lose.
But as a coach and the development of your players as well, Byron Brown, you've got Keyshawn Singleton. He's probably going to be a much bigger program next year as a receiver. He looks absolutely tremendous. If he's at Power 4 team next year, I won't be surprised. Schuler, Rucker, these are names you're going to hear in draft circles going forward, and the names you're going to hear associated with USF. It is a legitimate program to look at now for draft talent and good draft talent.
Yeah, it it, it will be an attractive program to come. Like I say, because it's when you think about recruiting, they are heavily at a disadvantage being near Tallahassee. Like I said, being in Florida, like I said, that comes with its own issues straight away. Like I say, but like I say, you've got IMG, you've got these massive high schools down in Florida, and if you can start thinking like turning the heads of those kids and trying to get them to come here and not go to Florida, like you're winning. Like I said,
Mm.
that is how you're going to win the battle. That recruitment in state, in battle, it will start to heat up in recent years, and that will be with stacking winnable seasons.
And potentially down the line, we say Golish might get a Power 4 job. He might not have to go anywhere to get a Power 4 job. If he carries on doing what he's doing here, USF is a
Illinois,
huge
yeah,
campus.
yeah,
Noel, I'm saying the team he's at right now, USF is a huge campus of over
yeah.
what,
I imagine as
50,000
well.
students.
The next time a Power Four conference is looking for teams to expand with,
USF will
look at
be
USF.
a prime candidate. He may take them into the
They've
Power
got
4 and
money
do
and
that.
they will bring money.
Exactly. And it's a stable program. Napier at Florida isn't. Norvell at Florida State is so and so. Cristobal at Miami. He's the one constant in that state. So who knows? But USF, tremendous win for them. And hopefully, they give Miami of Florida as good as they get at the weekend. yeah, say shout out to Danny Macbin in the building. Brent goes, Cole Sullivan segment coming. I told you, Sir Anthony. Yes, he's been very good. Shout out to William Robinson as well. He says, you two seem to have a better grasp on what is happening on college football and what needs to be done. Well done. Hey, appreciate you, William. Thank you for dropping
How would
by.
you
Anything
SF
you want to
go?
ask us?
Would it feel like a natural fit to just go to the ACC?
I was about to say I put them in the ACC. Put them with their local
They'll
rivals in
compete
there and
and they'll
build that.
compete in the ACC because the bottom
Yeah.
half of the ACC is cheeks.
Yeah, I will put them. I would put them in the ACC for sure. I think that should be where they go. You want the natural
Florida
rivalries
State
there as well,
rivalry.
and you want to build that. And yeah, and the Hurricanes as well. And if you potentially lose one of those big Florida teams to the SEC or something, you've got one readily available to poach and keep that battleground in there. So for me, that seems yeah big. But anyhow, well done USF, Florida. Bad for you this week. And they've got a trip to Death Valley next week, the LSU Death Valley. So, yeah, good luck with that. Moving on.
So Florida's season's on the line.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, yeah, and they're going to be one of two we're going to talk about whose seasons are on the line, who are very big teams, just going into week three. Like, moving it on to another big upset. And, this team got their show named after them last week. We named the show after a specific team, and it was a very bad week for Brent DeWitt and his Army Black Knights, who were taken down by Tarleton State, an FCS upset, a shocker for the reigning American champions. And you looked at their schedule and you're like, this is not going to get much easier. An Army on the road to Kansas State. They were 17-point dogs for this game on the road, and you're thinking this might be a long afternoon for them. And for the first half, it was. So this was the first meeting between the two teams since 1987. So this is a game that has not been played too much. But for Army, maybe a sign of luck there. No Dylan Edwards for Kansas State again. Once again, the star running back was missing. But Kansas State absolutely handed their arse to them in the first half. This thing was 13-0 for the most part. And Army's offense really struggled to start this game. So Kansas State started it off with a field goal. They went 8 plays, 33 yards. Took nearly 3.5 minutes for their trouble, but had a field goal to take the lead. But Army's first few drives, 6 plays, 13 yards, took nearly 14 minutes, but went nowhere, and they had to punt. They forced the Kansas State punt, but then back on again. They went 10 plays for just 28 yards over 5 minutes, and then they got themselves turned over on downs. And Kansas State took full advantage of this. They went down the other end, 6 plays, 47 yards. An absolutely stupendous throw from Avery Johnson. It was on a 4th and 7. He's 32 yards away from the end zone, and he drops an absolute dime in the smallest of bread baskets over the shoulder of Jaron Tibbs, the wide receiver, into the end zone. It is one of the most beautiful throws you will have seen of the entire weekend. It was stunning to put K-State 10-0 up. Army then went 4 plays and 14 yards and punted yet again. And then it just seemed with 9 minutes left in the second half, there was problems all over. Kansas State went 12 plays, 68 yards, spent over 7 minutes on the field. Army were able to stop them, thankfully, but not before Kansas State were able to put another field goal away. And it was 13-0. Army had barely gotten any first downs at this point. Just everything looked like it wasn't working. And then the game changed. Army finally got a drive together just before the half. They ended up going 16 plays, 75 yards in just over 2 minutes. So they started moving this thing at tempo, and not only through the run game, but they started passing it as well. And this comes to what is probably for me the game's definitive play. They made it to 4th and goal at the Kansas State 2 with just 3 seconds left in the half. Now, a lesser team would probably have just taken the field goal and gone, we'll take 3 before the half. Not Army. Whether they lost faith in their kicker after last week, I don't know. The coach said they haven't, but they went for it. Cale Helms, the new quarterback in town, retreating under pressure from Cody Stufflebean, the Kansas State edge. He is running backwards and away from the end zone, throws this perfect end zone pass to Brady Anderson, is able to get the touchdown, and the Black Knights, despite getting dominated for the entire half, go in 13-7, and this game changes on a dime. So coming out into the second half, two quick punts from either side. Army then get the football with 11 minutes, 18 seconds left in the third quarter. Kansas State's offense don't run another play in this game until there is 2 minutes, 52 seconds left in quarter four. That is a staggering 23 and a half minutes Kansas State went without running an offensive play, and Army, buoyed by the touchdown just before half time, they come out absolutely swinging. So they break out a trick play. They fake a running back screen to the right. Cale Helms tosses it to the wide receiver Noah Short. He just stops on a dime, and you can see the entire K-State defense think, oh shit, they're going to throw the thing. He launches this 40-yard laser to Brady Anderson, and this whole play ends up going for about 52 yards. And then Army's fierce triple option offense starts going to work. This drive, it goes for 14 plays. It lasts over 8 minutes. It grinds the K-State defense down into the ground. This includes two conversions on fourth down. They were both fourth and threes as well, which is not easy when you're a triple option team. The second of these is an absolute stunner from Cale Helms, the quarterback. He somehow manages to get to the K-State 1 yard line. It's the only place on the field Army could get a first down. The first down marker was between the 1 and the end zone, but he's able to do it. He then QB sneaks it over the line, and all of a sudden, Army, from being beaten up for the entire first half, are up 14-13. But that lead lasts 11 seconds. So Army kick it to the wide receiver, Bryce Nurnberg. He already had a 45-yard return in this game. He houses the kick the entire length of the field, does not get touched once. The K-State offense comes out for a two-pointer. Avery Johnson gets it to Jerron Tibbs. So they get the two-pointer. So all of a sudden, it's 21-14 to Kansas State again. The only problem, though, is this means that their gassed defense, which has just had to deal with that last Army drive, is right back out on the field after an 11-second break. And Army goes on to punish them. Another 13-play drive that takes over 7 minutes. Cale Helens converts another fourth down on this drive. Now, K-State's eventually able to halt them at their own 11. Army take the field goal, but you can see that defense going off the field at this point. It's broken. The score is 21-17 to Kansas State at this point. And then the back-breaking play of the game. And once again, Brent, if this was you, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, but somebody from Army football watches this podcast, because Army decide that they're going to hit Kansas State with the onside kick. Now, onside kicks are not very successful. And I have said for years, instead of doing these little squibby kicks that they try and do to recover, just absolutely twat the ball at the nearest guy on special teams as hard as you can and see where it ricochets to. Well, Army kicker Anderson Britton did exactly that. He absolutely nails the ball at the nearest K-State special teamer, and it bounces right back to Army. Basically, Army have got the ball back in their hands before K-State special teams have even moved. It happens that fast. And you can see the realization on all the K-State defenses' faces when they realize they've got to go back out there again. There is a look of collective horror on the entire unit, and this is where Army finished them off. And this is the most brutal drive of them all. 14 plays, 8 minutes. Another two fourth down conversions by Cale Helms, the quarterback. One is a 4th and 4, which he converts, and he finishes off this drive. He runs 14 yards right up the middle of the Kansas State defense. He is not touched once. That Army line just mauls everything out his way. It's like the Red Sea with Moses, and he sidles this thing into the end zone. Army take a 24-21 point lead, and at this point, Kansas State do have 3 minutes left, down just 3, but their offense is cold. They've not played in nearly over an hour of football. 8 straight pass attempts coming off the break. Only four of them are complete, and none of them go for more than 9 yards. There's just loads of quick throws trying to maneuver their way down the field into field goal range. On the ninth pass, Avery Johnson, he throws a weak pass behind Joe Jackson, the running back. He tips it right into the hands of Army free safety Colin Mattison. And that is game. Army are able to kneel this one out just with about a second remaining. And after being upset by FCS Tarleton State last week, Ryan, Army come back and scalp Kansas State on the road with one of the most brutal displays of triple option football you've seen. And what a resilience from this Army Black Knights team to be down 13 to nothing, to have done nothing in a half. They went 6 of 7 on fourth downs, including the last play of the first half, which gets them to touchdown. They've got wide receivers throwing passes, they're hitting squid kicks on special teams, and then they're playing classic Army football. 3 drives in a row where Kansas State's defense didn't get to rest. 14 plays, 89 yards, 7 minutes 58 seconds. 13 plays 57 yards, 7 minutes 22 seconds. 14 plays 56 yards, 7 minutes 54 seconds without a break. This was one of the performances of the week from any team.
Yeah, that's the Army football we've come to love and know. A battle of attrition. Our offense can stay on the field longer than your offense. And yeah, when you've got 10, 11, 12 guys carrying and rushing the ball, that means your defense is constantly having to like change the line. You've got guys moving in, motion out all the time. They constantly have got to stay alert, trying to diagnose pre-snap what's happening, who's going to be getting the ball, who's handing it off to. Because Army are great at bit that sleight of hand. They're great at working their formations and moving guys around to keep you guessing. It's a physical and mental toll for any defense to stay on the field that long and also stay alert and physical in the box for what is it's trench warfare. And in the end, the team, I think they brought them. I think in the end they brought them physically and their spirit. By the end, they were probably just glad for the game to be over and that defense would just have a rest because yeah, they lost the game, but I say the defense ultimately to keep it to such a close game. Fantastic effort from the K-State defense to be on the field so long and to withstand for such a good amount of time that when K-State got the ball on offense, it never felt like, especially in the second half, that they were going to do anything. Like I say, they were just giving it back so quickly and putting them in worse and worse positions.
I mean, you look here, the win probability, Kansas State's all game long until Army take this thing over at the end, and it gets out of hand quickly. I mean, Army suffered a bad loss. Obviously, the quarterback, one of the best in the country in terms of rushing quarterbacks at the back end of last year, and this is Cale Hellam's second game, but my God, how clutch does he look? Dare I say, he potentially looks better in the long run. His throwing is much better. The ability to convert those clutch fourth downs, 6 of 7 in the game, all 6 of which were converted by him. I mean, it looks like Army have potentially, dare I say, upgraded at the quarterback position with him. He looks so intriguing.
Yeah, I think from a potential more balanced offense, they may actually be better now with a guy that may be a bit of a more natural rhythm passer. Might be actually a little bit better. Maybe the arms a little bit stronger, a bit more velocity, a bit more rotation. So yeah, what looks like one of the biggest losses in the country in the long term actually may pan out, and yeah, they may be better off for it.
Absolutely. And I mean, you just look at these offensive plays here. Army, 82 plays from scrimmage. Kansas State, 43. Like, you have double the number of snaps on offense. You got nearly 100 yards passing, 237 on the ground. It's only going at 3.3 yards per play, but that's all you need, Ryan. You saw those K-State defensive linemen. Can you imagine what it's like to go the best part of an hour and 15 minutes consistently again and again and again having to take on those big, dirty, rotten Army like offensive linemen and tight ends and running backs and everyone else who blocks for them. That would be my version of hell.
Oh yeah, it will be. They'll leave you black and blue. Like I say, you're going up against one of the best well-drilled units. Like I say, discipline as well. They You're not going to draw many penalties out of them either. They're not going to shoot themselves in the move backwards. They're always coming forwards, and they are relentless.
Exactly. And, looking at, for me, for Army's side, obviously, they're finding their way back now. Obviously, last week, you've lost a lot. You play the triple option way. Tarleton State had already played a game, so we're technically, they got on the rust out the system, whereas Army hadn't. Now they look like they're up and going again. A big win on the road. But for Kansas State, I mean, we've talked already, that's 1-2 on the year. You barely beat North Dakota last week, and there's one stat that stands out here more than any other. 45 yards of offense, 172 through the air, 74 yards on the ground. That's it.
No
They are
Dylan
missing
Edwards.
Dylan
There's no
Edwards
run game.
big time, right? We talked about all the super running backs that have come up to the NFL out there in recent years. Deuce Vaughn, DJ Giddens. He is the next in this hierarchy, and without him, they're one-dimensional. And unfortunately for Avery Johnson, it looks like he's getting. I dare say not to write him off just yet because that touchdown throw was absolutely immaculate, but he can't carry a team without a run game, is what we're seeing.
No, he's getting exposed. He's getting fully hung out to dry. Like I say, the numbers on the season so far are actually very good for Avery Johnson. But that's one game that's massively inflated them. Like I say, this week and against Iowa State, like I say, okay, yeah, like I say, lost Dylan Edwards, like I say, after one drive, like one return play, and he got hurt, and they didn't have him either. And in both games, yeah, he's not looked good. And I fear that if they don't get, I mean, I don't even know if they're due to get him back anytime soon. I know he's been
No.
struggling with this ankle that could linger on for weeks. Kansas State season is fully on the line right now. They're another team that, with another loss, is going to struggle. Is pretty much done for making a title game.
I mean, you've lost to Iowa State, right? And just like their guys are going to be beaten up after this.
Oh
Defense
yeah,
is on
Austin
there for
Romaine must be
82
just battered if
plays.
the guy just does not leave the field. Another 10 tackles this week.
Yeah, and the worst part is you can't rush the passer. You can't do what you like to do because you're up against an option team that doesn't throw it very often.
Yep.
So
There's no
it's
time in the pocket.
disheartening.
They just hand it off. Like say, your edge rushers are useless because they're running up the middle or they're
Mm.
running away from you.
And as you can see here, they lost the turnover battle. Yes, it was only -1 and it was towards the end of the game, but turnovers, Army, no turnovers whatsoever. Clean, fundamental football, the triple option way. It's hard to beat.
Yeah. It yeah, it demands a lot from you. Whether you win or you lose, you have to leave it all out there. And yeah. And also time is never your friend. We saw this as well. Triple option football. Don't matter how many time out you've got. There is just not enough time in the day. Whenever you get the ball, if you get the ball like they didn't in the second half, you got to score. Because you don't
Mm.
know when the next time you'll get it will be. Like so if they kill 8, 9 minutes, that's nearly a whole quarter of your defense being on the field. You do that 3 times, as you say, that's nearly half a game. Your offense is not on the field.
They
You
went
can't
23
score.
minutes.
We ain't scoring anything.
23 minutes without an offensive snap is unreal. Like it sounds just 23 minutes, but when it's condensed, that's like, or when it's expanded, that it's like over an hour of football. Like it's crazy. But Army, tremendous. Shout out to their free safety who won it for them, Colin Mattison. Targeted 4 times on the day, gave up 1 reception for 10 yards, 1 interception, and 3 pass breakups. He had Avery Johnson's number in this one. But I mean, for the Army program, great. But for K-State, Kleiman's in a bit of trouble now. I know that program has been so good with him. They've won the Big 12, but it just felt like they've been falling short of expectations the last couple of years. And now you start 1-2. You are absolutely battered after this game. Like things need to turn around quickly here, but they need to find another running back because they don't have one right now.
Nope. Someone in that dressing room's got to stand up and be counted. Like I say, they're going to have to, as a collective, fill the void until Edwards gets back, if he gets back, because you can't just, yeah, you can't put it on Avery. Because like I say, nothing against him, I just don't think he's a quarterback capable of commanding of it. You can't ask him to pass 50 times a game.
No.
You will not win the game. That's not how this offense is built to work.
No, absolutely not. And, it's not the type of game they like to get involved in. You got Dylan Edwards, it's a different matter. You stay out there a bit quicker, something maybe changes. But unfortunately, yeah, when you go 23 minutes without an offensive possession, you're in a lot of bother. Anywho, let us move it on and gonna go through a few of the other upsets that we had on the roster before we go into some of the more bigger games. And it was a good week for the FCS, Ryan. In terms of we've had four upsets now this year so far from FCS over FBS teams. That ties 2023. It's short of the six in 2024. But first up on the docket, Bryant from the Coastal Athletic Association taking down UMass on the road. And I know UMass is just UMass and everything like that, but a win is a win. Took them down with a walk-off field goal, 27 to 26. It is Bryant's first ever win over an FBS school. Again, just UMass, but you'll take it how you get it. But I found this wonderful little stat on there. We talk about the FCS upsetting teams, and when people think of, when FBS fans think of the FCS, they think of the Big Sky because that's where all the big teams are, and they think that will probably be the conference that causes most of these upsets. The Colonial Athletic Association, they now have wins over FBS teams in 15 of the last 19 years. Bryant become the 12th different team from the conference to be able to get one. I know you watch FCS football a lot more than me, but the CAA, if you're trying to find some good opposition down at FCS level to put on your schedule, then, buyer beware with some of these guys. They are made of hardy, tough stuff, and if you don't turn up, they'll put one on you.
Yeah. Like I say, the CAA has built somewhat of a reputation now of they're happy to take your money for an SBS team and think they're gonna be an easy walkover. They'll roll over and let you tickle the belly. They'll take $100,000 from you and they'll hand you a big fat L. So they need to wise up now. These FCS teams, they're not to be trifled with. You don't go there just to fill your boots with stats, like you say, and give them a bit of money for their return. So yeah, I think that we're going to see a common trend of in even on a couple of years, like I say, you're gonna every couple of weeks, every week you're gonna get. We've already had, like say, loads of near misses. You're gonna get loads. I think how, I mean, this is for the UK fans, how the Championship to the Premier League gap feels like at some point it'll be bridged. The FCS gap to the FBS gap will someday it will be invisible. It will be. It's not a thing anymore. The G5 to the FCS these days, yeah, they're the same thing. They practically are in my eyes. What I say when I see most of these games, yeah, most of them could go up against the most of them could easily challenge in most of these G5 conferences if they wanted to.
Absolutely, they could. So, well done to Bryant getting the upset over UMass. And then the MAC saw another SCS over FBS upset. And Long Island, the Iced Teas, they're not really, but the Long Island, the light, I can't remember what are they? Who are Long Island now?
Sharks.
The Long Island Sharks, that's right. Heading into Ypsilanti and derailing the crate train, 28 to 23 winners over Eastern Michigan in a game in which Eastern Michigan never had the lead. And like Bryant, this is Long Island's first ever win over an FBS opponent. And we've seen, not necessarily through the draft, but Long Island are another one of these FCS teams who've sent a lot of talent into the upper echelons of college football. It seems to be a well-run program down there. And they've got themselves a scalp as well, their first ever FBS opponent down the drain.
Yeah, great win for them. Like I say, it's a program that a lot of people know and a lot of people like and respect. Like I say, from like part of the country they're in, they're well known. It's a very popular destination. Their football team has been taking strides in recent years. They're not a big FCS school. I don't think not by any mention, despite where they're located. They're still one of the small, like I say, they're still up and comers. But yeah, great win for them. Like I say, someone that a lot of people think one day feels like a potential FBS program. One, because like I say, it feels like quite a big market. Like I say, they've got good branding. Like I say, the Sharks. No one else has that name. Like I say, they look good. Like I say, good feel, good facilities. It's one that's got a bright future. Eastern Michigan, oof, a rotten season. Yeah, the crate train was derailed.
Yes, I will forever be on the Crate Train side. I believe in Chris Creighton, but yeah, this is a very bad loss for them. They need
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
they need to go and do well in the MAC now. There's no two ways about it. You've turned that program into a regular bowl contender, and that was
The
much better
schedule,
than
I
they
give them
used
the
to be.
schedule is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Awful.
Although Noah Kim is playing well there, though. Is it Noah Kim at Eastern Michigan, or am
Yes,
I?
the
It
old Michigan
is.
State QB, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing well. There's things to like. It's the defense that's the issue there at the minute. But yeah, so well done to Bryant and Long Island upsetting FBS opposition for the first time ever. And then the other big upset we had on the docket, it's back to the MAC again, and this time a team that was the upsetter and not the upsetted. And on the verge of backyard brawl week, a devastating loss for the West Virginia Mountaineers, compiled by the fact they've lost their star running back for the entire season now, which could have irreparable damage for them going forward. But West Virginia 10, Ohio 17. And, it seems like we've talked about Ohio most weeks. They ran Rutgers really close. They had the upset last week, and now they've. This Bobcats team, Ryan, looks incredibly gifted to start this year. We talked about the quarterback, Parker Navarro, again and again and again. Obviously, I've got the stats up so you can see here West Virginia took the lead early in this one, but Ohio came back and really didn't give them a sniff of this. I'll drop the scoring plays here for you. You can see it in the bottom left. Jaheim White, their star running back, 32-yard rushing touchdown to start this game near the end of the first quarter. But then after that, three scores in a row from Ohio, starting from the end of the first quarter to the end of the half. 37-yard field goal, Sia Bangora rushing touchdown, Parker Navarro to Chase Hendricks, who's started the season on fire, the receiver. And West Virginia got the score back early in the second half, but it was just a field goal, 7 points behind, and then no points scored for the remaining 27 minutes of this game. And when you go up and take a look at what went wrong for them, West Virginia, you see rushing yards, 91 rushing yards at 3.79 yards per carry. But look at what Jaheim White was going at before he got hurt. Six carries, 40 yards, a touchdown, going about 6.7 yards per rush. He's out this game. Ohio, right? This offense legit good. Parker Navarro, 22 of 30, 235 yards and a touchdown. He did throw a couple of picks, but West Virginia's offense got nothing going because Markiol threw one of his own. But the running backs, he runs the ball well. 15 carries, 99 yards. Sia Bangora back in town, 66 yards, a touchdown for him. This Ohio team's going to be a problem for a lot this year. They've already given Rutgers problems, nearly beat them. They now have beaten the Power Four team. Like they've been one of the most impressive teams of the season so far.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed watching highlights. Like I said, Parker Navarro's been very good. Like with his legs, I mean, he might be the best rushing quarterback in the Power Five, G4 right now. He has crucified two teams in back-to-back weeks, extending plays and getting first down with his legs. And it looks like the G5 has found a new star receiver, Chase Hendricks. Like I say, two what back-to-back 100 games. Like I say, he's having an incredible start to the season. He's looking a very good threat, very credible. On the flip side, yeah, credit to Nico Marchiol for, like, say, biding his time because I'm pretty sure he's been at West Virginia now since he was a freshman. I'm sure he's been there since like 2022,
And he's
2020.
had a lot of injury
A lot of injuries,
issues.
and also he's had multiple guys ahead of him, and he's bided his time. Ugh, it doesn't look good. He doesn't fill me a lot of confidence. Like I say, he's struggling to start the season. And yeah, this team, yeah. And if you lose, like say, the heart and soul of an offense, and you're kind of forced to put in a position where then he's kind of got to take those risks, see the bad interception. You see teams like that, yeah, so it just struggled. But yeah, credit to Ohio right now, looking like one of the potential front runners in the MAC this year. They're very well rounded. They've got physical players and defense, and they've got an offense that can get it done on the ground and get it done through the front air, it seems. So yeah, they're going to be they're going to be hard to take down this year.
And I mean, look at all that pink and purple on the team stats there. When it's purple, it's bad, bad. Your EPA per play, minus 0.35, fourth percentile. Success rate of plays, 28%. That's fourth percentile. You know, your EPA per dropback and rushes in negatives. You know, yards per dropback's only 5. Explosive play rate, 4%. There's nothing there. Third downs, 17% success rate. Red zone, 0% in the red zone. Uh, it's just, it is not pretty reading whatsoever. A good line play, 7 sacks in this game. There was a lot of good on offense. Obviously, it was a low scoring game, a lot on defense, sorry. But, and a weird one. West Virginia won the turnover battle, but they lost the turnover points differential, so they got more turnovers, but they did less with them. It's very rare you see a team win the turnover battle and lose the turnover luck points battle as well. So, you know, that is not good, but backyard brawl week, anything can happen. It all goes out the window. Form means nothing. We'll come back and talk about them in a bit. But yeah, they were the sort of four major upsets outside of that. But now we move on to the Lucky Bunnies, we're calling it this year. It was a Survivor Suite last year, but there were a lot of Lucky Bunnies this week who potentially could have got upset, and there's questions that we need to start asking about them and in their immediate future. And I mean, this list is rather large, but starting off with one of the earlier games this week, Rye. Louisville and James Madison ended up Louisville 28, James Madison 14. And you may think, well, they weren't very lucky bunnies. They won by 2 scores. But the fact of the matter is, watching this game, it was tied till very late on. I think there was only 11 minutes to go in the game. Let me just get the score drives up for them. But um, Louisville looked bad. They could not get Isaac Brown going. And yes, he had a 100-yard day, but he ended up with a 75-yard rushing touchdown, which really inflated his figures. Miller Moss looked, I mean, he didn't look good against this JMU team. And the reason I say they're lucky bunnies here is because it wasn't Louisville being good that won them this game. It was James Madison and not being able to decide on which quarterback they wanted to use in this game that really did in for them. Right. Matthew Sluka came in, ran the ball a lot. He had 19 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. He came in and threw a few throws as well, although he threw a pick as well. And Alonzo Barnett, the standout quarterback, he was 15 of 25 for 85 yards and a touchdown, but didn't give the ball away. But you could see during the game, like, those two clearly don't like one another. There seem to be factions emerging in that team. The coach doesn't really know what he's doing. Alonzo Barnett does make a horrible mistake to get strip sacked in the end zone, and there's a defensive touchdown from Louisville. But like, let's not talk about Louisville. James Madison for a moment could and maybe should have won this game, but we talk about it all the time. Using 2 quarterbacks is a recipe for disaster because it breaks your team up, and they looked very good in this game until they started force feeding Sluker into it.
Yeah, that first half, as you say, was super competitive. At the half, James Madison were fully in that game. Like I say, Alonso was making plays in the first half. They were just kind of going with the rhythm, taking what the defense had. Like I say, and everyone knows I'm a big Bob Chesney guy, but we saw it in the recent games as well. Like I say, second half, like I say, he's tinkering. Too many times he's trying to change it up, keep the defense guessing. Like I say, he's substituting them and not even drives, like every couple of plays. And when Sluka comes in, it's very obvious what you're going to do. He's a running quarterback. He literally, most of them are the design runs, they're QB keepers. Like I say, it's an option where if someone crashes, he takes it. And it makes it easy to shut them down. It makes it ultimately easy to nullify an offense when you know they've realistically got a passing quarterback and a running quarterback. You can just have two kind of skill sets or two lots of play calls, depending on who comes out. And in the end, I think that got the better of Bob this week. Too much changing, as you say. They lost the rhythm. At halftime, Louisville were pretty much glad to be pretty even Stevens halftime. But after halftime, Cardinals took over. It was just a non-contest for the most part.
No, absolutely. And, you know, the numbers just read bad across the board here. Again, the stats are up for you all to see on the screen. Like, yards per play for James Madison, 3.47. That is second percentile. They can't get Petaway going, which is a concern for them because we were both waxing lyrical about him before the season started. But Louisville, just 5.26 themselves. That's only 33 percentile. Neither team much in terms of their EPAs on dropbacks and rushing. The explosive play rate, Louisville's was higher. It was 9%, which is pretty decent. They were good on third downs, nearly 50%, but red zone, they were only 38% there. James Madison better in the red zone, better defensively at stopping the run as well. Isaac Brown, as I say, star rusher. He went for 100 yards, but 75 of that was on one run. For the rest of the game, he was well and truly bottled up by this JMU defense. And the havoc rate's at nearly 20% for James Madison. 9 tackles for loss, 4 in the pass, 5 against the rush, 3 sacks, forced a fumble as well, which they recovered. I mean, to be fair, Louisville did pretty good again. Good game, 8 tackles for loss, 5 passing, 3 rushing, 5 sacks. They had an interception as well. It was a great game for the defense as James Madison ended up losing the turnover battle by 1 with a -4% turnover look differential. But I mean, Louisville just didn't look good here, right? When Isaac Brown is bottled up, I think we've seen as well, I don't think Miller Moss can carry this team like they would hope he could. He was 13 of 23 for 133 yards and a touchdown. But again, some of them were just big plays which have kind of inflated his figures a little bit.
Yeah. If you take out those handful of big plays, he was bottled up. Like I say, it's very much where it's kind of like, say, fudge the numbers a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's always like I say, he's one of the better players in the country. It always feels like you can only keep him quiet so long.
mm.
There's going to be one where, like I say, he has got home run potential where he will break out. And like I say, it was one of them players and it was a dagger.
Yeah, that's it. The good players always find a way, even if it is just one play. That was the play that broke the game truly open. Good receiving performances in this though. On Louisville's side, Chris Bell looks legit. Although as you can see there, 4 catches on 11 targets. I think he was getting targeted downfield a lot. But the really interesting one, Rye, the Richmond Spider transfer, I believe he's the Richmond transfer. Landon Ellis, the outside receiver at James Madison,
And they
three
both are from
catches.
Andy Gennaro, both came from the same school.
3 catches, 55 yards on just 4 targets at 14 yards per carry. He, as a deep threat, a perimeter receiver, Landon Ellis looks legit coming up to this James Madison side. That Richmond side, I believe, is a pass heavy one, right? He's come up to this James Madison system. He looks ready made for this and against power four opposition as well. Like, name to watch.
Yeah, they've both Virginia, I mean, both Richmond transfer wide receivers have hit the ground running already. They've got like that chemistry between them. And like I said, between Barnett, they've worked pretty well. But Landon Ellis has got the upside of having a big frame. Nick is a smaller guy, more of a slot guy, a gadget. Landon is bigger, stronger, offers more, like say, towards the sideline and a deep threat. And he had a good game. And if Bob can help himself and not keep putting Matt in constantly and let Barnett get back to what it was last year, which before the injury was being a monster, JMU will start going and passing the ball and the yardage will rack up for London. But like I say, they're going to have to not, I mean, it's going to be in their DNA to, like say, keep teams guessing and mixing it up. But I think they have to be a bit more clever about it.
Yeah, and again, going back to Louisville, you can't perform like that and expect to win the ACC. I know a lot of
No.
the ACC's top hopefuls are struggling this year, but you simply have got to play better.
Yeah, like I said, the first half was poor. They were not good in the first half. And they'll need a team well, like I said, and yeah, ACC teams will not afford you the luxury of limping to half and then suddenly you come out and come alive. You play that in the first half, they're going to put you to bed there and then, and the second half will be a non-factor. So that should have been a scare to them, sent them a message. Like you say, Miller Moss was okay. Like I say, that he didn't make any faults. He didn't really put him in place. Isaac Brown slowed down, but yeah, you're gonna have to hit the ground and be a lot quicker next week. Like I said, defense, keep that up intensity in the ACC, and they'll just be fine. But like I said, the offense is gonna have to start a little bit faster going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, for James Madison, signs do potentially look positive there for them. I mean, that defensive line continues to be a monster. Great pressure on the day. Um, I think now they've got is it Emmanuel Bush? He's like meant to be the new breakout. He had a sack on the day here, but came from all over. Gannon Weatherby, Jacob Thomas, the safety, Weatherby, the linebacker. You know that defense is always going to be good. It's always going to bring the pressure onto them. So yeah, Louisville can consider themselves very lucky indeed. Terms who also struggled. The ACC is where you keep going here, right? For teams who just don't look good. And Syracuse are the next ones on the docket. Syracuse, who were so bad that Fran Brown had them doing sprints after the game against UConn because he was so disgusted with how they played. And UConn was, what, 17-6 up at one point in this game. Alex Honig, their star tight end, I think it's for them now. He got early touchdown in this game. They started trading field goals, a couple to each team, but 17-6 going into the fourth quarter. And this one got to about like 5 minutes left until until it really broke out. But Syracuse were able to get two quick touchdowns. Justin Ross Simmons, he had a deep downfield shot from Steve Angeli, the new Syracuse quarterback there. They got a touchdown with like 48 seconds to go. It was a Yasim Willis 3-yard run, which put them 3 points up. But UConn, to their credit, in that 48 seconds, were able to get down and score a field goal in retaliation to take this thing to overtime. And again, it took the connection from Steve Angeli to Justin Ross Simmons to finish this one off. Good day for the wide receiver, but UConn, we love UConn, we love Jim Mora, they're frisky, and once again, up against power opposition, they don't look out of place. They maybe could and should have won this one, but it's just a sign of how deep this UConn team is that they're not going away. They keep finding talent, they keep replenishing it, and they're putting out consistently good teams year in, year out now.
Yep, they're a team where, I mean, in years gone by, you could probably look at them and say, yeah, you'd look past them. You'd look for your next big game the week after UConn. But if you look too far past them right now, you end up getting dragged into these battles where, yes, they should have won. Yes, they could have won in overtime, but overtime is anyone's fair game. It's a battle. End of the day, they will take a lot of positives out from it. Syracuse didn't do a good job of hiding the frustration by Fran Brown there, punishing the players. That's when you know you've won, when you know they're making them do like hill sprints and that after the game because they didn't perform and the bit of self-punishment is like a ritual. That's when you know that you really got under their skin and you did really well. And UConn can take lots of positives from that, especially into their future games. They play like that, they'll win most of their schedule. Like I said, because they put themselves in multiple positions to score, did very well. Ended there, it was just critical drives that stalled out. In the end, they lost a bit of steam and had to hang on for overtime where they fell short. On the flip side, Angeli, I mean, the numbers tell you actually, like say, for a guy that used to be a rotational backup now starting, he's doing pretty well. He's carrying, let's say, this game, like say, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of incompletions, inconsistency, but he chewed up yardage, he moved the ball very well, and in the end, he was able to claw them out of a massive hole because their run game, which we know is, like say, recent players, has always been their bread and butter, pretty non-existent this week. And it's if you take off all the minus yards that Angeli got, they rushed to
Um,
70, like say finishing minus 32. So it's not a great average when you work it out, but passing the offense, he spread the ball around very well. Like I said, their defense did well. So yeah, he did good to dig them out of a hole and they avoided embarrassment. I've just seen that the NIL store has opened and he's debuted a t-shirt that says peanut butter and jelly time, which is a
oh,
fantastic NIL play on words. I love that. That'll sell like hotcakes around New York.
oh, I can't wait for that. But yeah, like you said, it's crazy. Syracuse 53 passes, 24 rushes.
That's not
They
Syracuse foot. Well, no, it is because of Carl McCord, but also they had LeQuint Allen. They want
yeah.
to run the ball. And before LeQuint Allen, like say, who was that running back that tweeted his stats every week?
Oh yeah. He's
Began
not
with an
there.
S.
Yeah, I can't
In the
remember now.
NFL
He's
now.
he's he's not there anymore, is he? Yeah, he's in the league. So,
Yeah. Like I say, they've got to go back to doing what they want to do. I know they
mm,
can throw the ball. Yeah. Carl McCord lost a lot of big games because they were too pass heavy. I don't want to see that happen to Steve Angela. He's already
No.
been put in the positions Carl McCord were,
Yeah.
and they got Carl McCord drafted, but it didn't make Syracuse any closer to being competitive in the Big Ten than they were now.
No, it didn't. Well, he's 31 of 50, 383 yards. You don't want him throwing stats like that every game. You want to do better than
We'll break
that.
him.
Yeah, exactly. UConn, on the other hand, I'm quite positive for them. Joe Fagnano, I've come to like him. He's the old Rhode Island transfer, I think, or he's come up from somewhere in the FCS. But he was 23 of 38 for 250 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Only got sacked once. That UConn offensive line still continues to be really good and is protecting him well, but they're skill players. Cam Edwards had 122 scrimmage yards on the day, the running back. And Skylar Bell, the diminutive young wide receiver, 10 catches for 104 yards for him. He is incredibly talented. So, these UConn skill players are doing the
I
business for
wonder
them.
where
They're
he'll
off.
be next year.
I think he's like a fifth year or a sixth year. I probably assume the NFL. He's had a very interesting career. Skylar Bell has. He's not played a great deal, but this is going to be his year. So we'll see. Maybe he might have one more year left in him, but I think his heart's at UConn. He was there last year. He started to break out last year, then got injured. But yeah, Jim Mora and the Yukon Huskies certainly got a lot to like. So yeah, Louisville and Syracuse struggling. Moving into the SEC now, and another team who struggled, and another team who are really good. Well, they can be good for the most part, but there's one team who they really don't like playing. They got upset by them last year, which derailed an absolute
I
a
know where we're
huge
going with
start
this.
to the season. One of Ryan's favorite teams of all time. He is a big member of the Lane Train,
I
but
was.
the Lane Train doesn't like going to Kentucky. Old Miss, 7.5 point road favorites, going up against a Kentucky team who, quite frankly, are embarrassing as to how bad they are. Zach Calzada was throwing for like 30 yards per quarter or something like that, going up to about three quarters through this game, but they just don't like playing Kentucky. Ole Miss 30, Kentucky 23, and they found themselves in a big hole early in this game. The first two scores were from Kentucky. Seth McGowan, who we're going to talk about later, but you'll remember me talking about him, one of the draft's most intriguing prospects, period, at running back. He got a rushing touchdown. Then they tacked on a field goal to a Jacob Coway from 33 yards. Austin Simmons thrown two picks by this point, as this Ole Miss offense looked absolutely atrocious. And quite frankly, they've been saved by a transfer running back who's trying to do the business for them now that Judkins and everyone else has gone from the program. Keywan Lacey rushing touchdown. Then Damian Taylor had a rushing touchdown within 4 minutes of one another, put Ole Miss up. Kentucky then took the lead with a field goal. 4 minutes left of the half. Old Miss were able to get back in front with one of their own. It was 17-13 at the half to Old Miss. They tacked on another field goal to that to make it 2013. But then Seth McGowan, for the second time on the day, who was the heartbeat of this Kentucky offense, he had another rushing touchdown, which tied this thing up. With only 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, as Ole Miss just really couldn't shake them. Ole Miss did get back in front. Austin Simmons, he had himself a touchdown run from 7 yards out in the third quarter to make it 27-20. And then there were no points scored until a minute left in the game. Ole Miss frantically trying to score to win this. They had to settle for a field goal to put themselves 10 points up. Kentucky only had a minute left at this point, but they moved the ball on Ole Miss really quick, were able to get a field goal back. They took one early to preserve some time. There was only like 10 seconds left. Tried the onside kick, ultimately failed, but I don't know what it is about Ole Miss with Kentucky, right? They just do not look like a good football team when they're playing them. Austin Simmons looked poor, 13 of 24, 235 yards, no touchdowns, two interceptions. Did get better as the game went on, but and he didn't even get sacked either. So it wasn't like the Kentucky D-line was harassing him all day. This was the Keywan Lacey story, the transfer from Missouri, I believe, 28 carries, 140 yards, and a touchdown for him to ultimately put this away. And if Kentucky had anything better than a half decent quarterback, they'd probably have won back to back against Ole Miss.
If they could muster anything on offense, like I said, they would have easily won this game because the Rebels were, yeah, they were there for the taking. Simmons stunk up the place. Like I said, credit to Harrison Wallace, the Penn State transfer, the receiver. He's actually looked great through 2 weeks. He is their only real out threat in the passing game. He's got, like I say, already 250 yards, so he's having a stellar start to the season. He looks a great ball pickup. But yeah, Simmons, poor concentration, ball in harm's way, poor decision making, and it ultimately cost him multiple times with turnovers. The run game, like say, Lacey was able to bail him out on the day when, yeah, it was one of the games where there was a lot of ugly, sloppy football on both parts, and ultimately either team could have won on the game. It just felt like one that could put together one or two complete drives would probably the one that does it. But yeah, I tweeted this to Zach Calzada. Yeah, it's been a disaster for the team, but for him personally, this is a dreadful decision for him. It will be what his last college eligibility, and he's going to stink up the gaff. Like I said, they're going to make him look bad. He's not going to cover himself in glory, and they're going to have a rotten season. Probably should have just stayed at Incarnate Word or gone to like a G5 team. I'm
And
not
you know,
exactly sure what he thought this would do for his image.
yeah, and you look at the stats here and it's even worse. Kentucky's average starting field position at their own 40. So you're getting good field position to start your drives, and you're not able to take advantage of that. Old Miss, it was their own 30. So you got a full 10 yards of drive to start off better. You've got just as many offensive plays in there, but you've got a good running back room working. You win the turnover battle by two. Again, you had the two interceptions. They didn't turn it over, an 8 point turnover look there for them. So you're winning turnovers, you're winning field, possession on the field. He was 15 of 30 for 134 yards, and that was it. But, it's empty stuff. He missed a lot of easy throws. They were not able to move the ball well at all. Austin
Got
Simmons
cut the
didn't look a
ball
whole
in a
deal.
6'5" true freshman that was built like an Adonis, breathing down his neck after 2 weeks.
And this was, I would say this, the Kentucky program, the shocking stat that came out about this on air, actually. In the last 9 seasons, Kentucky have not started a quarterback who they recruited. That kind of shows you the problem there, right, Rye?
Yeah, and that's crazy because Lexington, Kentucky is a huge like campus. Kentucky's a huge university. It attracts tons of talent everywhere, but it doesn't attract quarterbacks. Or if it does, they don't play or they leave soon after committing or they decommit. They just can't keep them. And like I said, despite all the other talent they sent to the draft, I mean, and performances like this don't help them. Quarterbacks genuinely look at like how the current team is performing. They look at them like they can't help me. They cannot put me in a team to play as well. And they're right. I would avoid them like the plague.
Hmm. And, it's the same thing, you kind of feel the same for Old Miss as well. A lot of their talent comes out the portal. Again, Keywan Lacey comes in, saves the day for them. He's a Mizzou transfer. He's not their own. They transfer him again. Without him, they don't win this
Wallace, Penn
game, but
State, they love transfer skill players.
they do. And, they're relying on it a lot. But looking at the way they've played here, they come up against the top teams in the SEC. They're really going to struggle. But I do want to, yeah, I don't want to go all the way over on Kentucky here. Kentucky played well. That defense played as well as it could be expected to in the circumstance. But the name on the lips, I want everyone just to keep an eye on Seth McGowan, the rushing back. Again, if you're a long-time listener of the show, you will have heard of him before. He was one of our players to watch on the New Mexico State team last year. So for those with a long memory, Seth McGowan was like a super recruit for Oklahoma like 4 years ago. Did well as a freshman there and then got blackballed by a gambling thing that he had against him. And he had to go down to JUCO and serve out his time there. Couldn't play in the FBS at all. Came back up to New Mexico State last year and we said, look, this guy is insanely talented. He's done really well in JUCO. If he adapts to life in the group of five quickly, he'll be in the Power Four before you know it. Last year, knocks it out the park at New Mexico State, comes to Kentucky, and he's going to get plenty of chance to run the ball here with Calzada throwing it. And you can see there, 15 carries, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 6.2 yards a clip. Against what is a good old Miss team and a good old Miss defensive line, got good pressure in this game. It held up for good parts here. It's not bad opposition. Like these are complete wild cards, guy. These guys who go down to JUCO and then come up. Some of them, their talent is so well hidden, but like he looks legitimate at the Power Four level now. He is every bit the super recruit Oklahoma got 4 years ago, and no one's going to look at him. And this is where the draft value comes in.
Yeah, he's landed at a school that is going to give him all the carries he wants. He's going to have to win games single-handedly, like he almost tried to do this one. I mean, that works in perfectly. Let's be honest, Seth McGowan. If I'm Seth McGowan, I don't really care about whether the team wins or loses. Like I said, I'm here for me. I'm here to make a name for myself and prove I belong, and I can make a case from there to the next level. And he's going to do that. He could not have picked a better school, right? Because they've got a stinky quarterback room, and they're basically just going to have to establish their run every week to have any hope to go in that way. So yeah, it's going to be a great one for him. He's going to be a dark horse to watch all years when the leading rushers in the SEC. On the flip side as well, 2 games, 4 interceptions, Austin Simmons. At what point does Trinidad Chambliss get a start? I don't think we're too far away from, like, say, the D2 national champion starting a game for Ole Miss. I reckon that's going to be in the near future if Austin keeps turning the ball over.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine Trinidad Chambliss getting game time for them? How good would that be for him?
Oh, it'd be great for him. Like I say, it'd do the world a good. Like it's another guy. Like I say, it'll show off, like say, the talent. Very state. I'm pretty sure after they won like back-to-back national titles, like half that team left for D1 football. The transfers,
Mm,
loads of them came to D1. It's a powerhouse, I believe. They're one of the best D2 teams in the country. Loads of national titles. Like I say, yeah, if he can make a name for himself here, like I say, and I think he can later in the season or when, like I say, if Lane Kiffin eventually is forced to make a decision, I hope Trinidad wins the job, and I hope he don't give me it back.
no, I'm really rooting for the kid as well. I hope he does well. In terms of Ole Miss side, there is things to like. The defense is still pretty good.
Got plenty of sacks. Yeah, they did well on D-line.
Princewell showed out, and Sundarine Perkins could be potentially one of the sleeper linebackers knocking around. Like
Yeah.
these two both knocked it out the park.
Yeah, great addition adding Princewell. Like I say, because you lost his brother. Like I say, you lost Walton Nolan, you lost Jaden Ivey. They lost their entire starting D line. So they went out there and said, let's get the best players that have got power four experience or like say are buried on depth charts that are in the portal. Let's bring them in, give them a chance to start. And yeah, they're seeing their awards already. Guys that will make a name for themselves in the short time here and will, yeah, plenty of holes to be filled and like I say, quarters to be met, so they'll be able to pick up the slack very quickly. So good moves for them.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of other lucky bunnies on the day, which maybe struggled to lose, this list is long. Appalachian State nearly lost to a village out of Lord of the Rings. They only beat Lindenwood 20 to 13.
Lindenwood's D2, isn't it?
Is Lindenwood D2? Well, it
I
sounds like
thought
it's out.
I'm sure Lindenwood are D2.
The Lindenwood Lions. It sounds like they're part of the Elvish Kingdom in Lord of the Rings. Like that is what I'm going with now. But App State only beat them 20 to 13. So App State have just
Oh
been kind
no,
of
they play FCS. They moved up.
Oh, they moved up. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, App State struggled past the Lindenwood Lions 20 to 13. North Texas nearly upset by the Western Michigan Broncos. They were touchdown favorites on the road, beat them 33 to 30, but the Broncos put up a fight there. One of our pick watch ones, Nevada, scummy Nevada as they are, getting a win over Sac State in the last moments, beating them 20 to 17, which I was gutted by.
Yeah, there was only about 40 seconds left and they scored.
Yeah, and they scored, and Ryan knocked it out the park in the pick watch this week. That was one of the ones that changed for him. But Sac State and Brennan Marion, that offense is not looking like I thought it would so far. But it takes time. The Go-Go is a complex offense, and that's an entirely new team he's got there. So, and Thingy's lost his job. The 5-star recruit went there's already lost his job. Oh God, who did he take? Jaden Rashada has lost his job there already. So
I imagine
he ain't messing around.
He won't be on the program in a couple of weeks because I said his attitude.
He's not. He won't be messing around. So Nevada,
I think he's done at this level. Next time it is the portal, he'll have no interest.
No, not at all. Colorado State, massive upset, but nearly against Northern Colorado. They put them away 21 to 17, but they were behind for a good chunk of that game, and they didn't look good in the process. Tulane on the road to South Alabama were 9-point favorites. They only won 33-31, which was an absolutely tremendous game I might talk about in a little bit. And another team who really struggled, right? Back to the SEC. LSU against Louisiana Tech, favored by like 35 odd points or something like that. 23-7 winners. Now, at no point did it really look like, Louisiana Tech were going to win this. This is more LSU looked really, really bad against average group of five opposition, and it was their two-star wide receivers, Barry and Brown, and Aaron Anderson, who kind of bailed them out of this one because it was pedestrian. It wasn't like them. They usually blow out this level of opposition.
Yeah, it was. They ran by committee, but they established to actually win the trench warfare. Like I said, they had 250-yard rushes going at a good carry, but they just felt, as you say, the handbrake was on. They were in like second, third gear. Like that monstrous defense, 2 sacks. And they were split by 2 people. 4 people got half a sack each. Like, yeah, they weren't even getting to the quarterback. You'd expect them to absolutely harass the LA Tech quarterback. They did not do a good job of getting after him, like negative players. They were just a large number. There were just a few extra chunk plays that really separated them on the day, but no, they certainly did not cover themselves in glory in the end. And 9 of those points came from field goals. That was
Yeah,
unheard of. Like I say, that they should have been blowing them out of the water.
exactly. And this is against an offense. Louisiana Tech only put up 154 yards of offense, compared to LSU's nearly 400. But again, LA Tech won the turnover battle by one. Were able to convert some points out of it. Nussmeier, 26 of 41, 214 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Not much going for him there. The run game was good. I don't know why they didn't use it more. They just throwed an awful lot. But Barry Brown had his big game, nearly 100 yards for him. He's finally getting the targets there. Aaron Anderson, another 8 catches. He's, again, one of the best slot receivers in the country. But big shout out to one of my players to watch this season, Colby Field, the Louisiana Tech linebacker. Now, did a big spiel on him when we did our thing. He was a former LSU recruit who was, again, basically told by the program that he was no good and, he wasn't good enough for them. And they kind of summarily got rid of him. And that happened to him twice at SEC schools. Went down to LA Tech, got suspended for a year. Well, eligibility, he wasn't allowed to play for a year because he transferred twice, so he had to sit out his first year at LA Tech. Last year had a massive breakout year. In this game alone against SEC opposition, his run defense grade was 85 in this game. He had a quarterback hit, he had 6 tackles, 3 run stops, 3 receptions given up for 15 yards, but no yak after them. Colby Fields is a legitimate NFL draft prospect at Louisiana Tech in that middle linebacker position. You want one of these star type linebackers who can do a little bit of everything for you. He's there. He is a power four player who just never got his opportunity, and I'm convinced of that now. He had such a great game against LSU, and you could see him. He was chirping at his teammates all game. It's just you could see him mouthing, "You forgot about me. I've not forgotten about you." He had a really good standout game. Didn't miss a single tackle. Image of perfection there for him. But yeah, LSU looked rough. And then the other one, Coastal Cal, they beat Charleston Southern 13-0. It was 3-0 game till about 9 minutes left, and their starting quarterback, CJ McCall, got pulled. Things not looking so good at Coastal, right? Those days of, Grayson McCall and everything are well behind them now. They have, come back down to the means.
Yeah, they've come back down to earth with a bang. Like I say, the Jamie Chadwick, the yeah, that era of football is now long in the mirror, and they look directionless. It feels like, it was a short, fleeting high, wasn't it? The Chanticleers being one of the most fun teams to watch in the country. But eventually, like I say, all good things come to an end. And when you don't have a succession plan, which they did not have a succession plan on the roster for that quarterback, like I say, and a lot of their skill players that then went on as pros, here they are now, kind of like say back to square one and kind of finding their feet again.
Yeah. Absolutely, they were. Right, let's move it on now. So those were all the lucky bunnies there. Now we've got the list of games that I want to discuss for various reasons or another. And if we were to say in the pick watch, right, there was a most disappointing team of the week, I think you know where we're going next. We put a lot of stock in a certain ACC team that were at home with a certain quarterback that we really like, and we thought we might beat this Big Ten upstart coming into their home, and they got the brakes absolutely beaten off them, and because it was turnovers once again. Duke, the Blue Devils at home against the Illinois Fighting Illini. And I'm going to put the stats up for this one on screen so you can have a look along because we talk about turnovers matter. Boy, howdy, do turnovers matter. 45 to 19 victors for Illinois. They were 2.5 point favorites. They weren't 26-point favorites in this game. Now, we look at the team stats here. Let's look at all this green across the board from both success rate of offensive plays, yards per play, yards per drop back, both 8.5 or over. Explosive play rate, at least for Illinois, was up at 12%, which is huge. Third down success, red zone success, great for Illinois. But defensively for Duke, for a team that gave up 45 points, look at that. Their defensive run stuff rate was tremendous at 37%. Their havoc rate was 25%. Bear in mind, about 20% is elite. Look at that. Tackles for loss, 14. 4 against the pass, 10 against the rush, 4 sacks on the day. Where did it all go wrong, do you say? Let's look at the turnovers. -4 for Duke. A pick thrown by Darian Mensah and 3 fumbles in the run game, meaning a 4 turnover swing and a 15-point turnover look, which when you put it together, that's a 30-point swing there between points gained and points lost in a game that was 26 points long. Great offensive football from two teams, right? Two very good offensive displays, but one of them couldn't keep hold of the football. And for Duke, I mean, it's just like they threw this game away. You don't say a 26-point team should have won a game, but they probably could have if they kept hold of the ball better.
Yeah, they put up decent amount of offense. Like I said, their defense was a live wire. Vincent Anthony Jr. won Lineman of the Week. 2.5 sacks, 6'6", 250. Definitely a guy to watch for next year's draft. He's already on 3.5 sacks for the year. He's having a tremendous season. And he led from the front. Like I said, they were a ferocious defense. They were constantly making negative plays in the backfield. They were getting the ball back for the offense multiple times. Like I said, so they were working really hard in the first half. But yeah, lackadaisical, sloppy play. Like I said, too pedestrian. And all that good work that the defense did do, like saying stuffing and getting the ball back on negative plays, the offense then went and unraveled it and undid it all by giving the ball back with poor turnovers. And in the end, Illinois, by halftime, I said after half, they just took over. Like I said, Duke, their heads dropped. I think of every turnover, like I said, the defense, they looked defeated. And like I said, it got to a point where, yeah, they were never going to come back from, like I said, the lead Illinois was building. They just piled on misery in the second half.
Look at that. 12 different receivers for Duke. Like, this offense was spreading it. I mean, spreading it all over. Andrell Antony got the most. Is Andrell Antony a former Michigan player? Is he a Michigan transfer? That name rings a big bell.
I think I
Two
recognize
touchdowns on the day for him. I'm pretty sure Andrell Antony used to be a Wolverine. But again, it was just the turnovers that killed for Illinois, though. This was a big question. They're expected to compete for the Big Ten this year. Yes, they've been helped by turnovers, but they played a clean game themselves. Altmaier, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns there, despite getting sacked 4 times, which will be a worry. But that Duke team, as you say, the defense was amazing. And, it seems they've got a new star receiver in town, Hank Beatty. 8 catches, 128 yards. That was the question. They lost their 2 big receivers coming in from last year, but they seem to be getting on all right so far.
Yep, and you're going up against one of the best safety corner combos in the Power Four. Like I say, not just like say SEC, you say you got two of the best players at the positions in the whole country right now. So that is a dangerous secondary to be taken on. And Luke Holtmeyer, knife through butter. He found no issue whatsoever going after them time after time. And Hank coming out of the slot did, yeah, he punished them heavily on the day, and they were made to pay for it. Had to put up a stellar day for him.
Yeah, Duke, again, you look at the disparity of the offense, 356 through the air, 89 on the ground. Like, you've got to get that disparity a little bit better. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. And don't lose the turnover battle by four either. I'm sure they can still do something in the ACC, but this was not a good start for them. Outside of this, where are we going to go next? Iowa and Iowa State. Iowa State, third year in a row, knocking off their big rivals. But the story here normally talk about Iowa State first because spectacle fan. I love the spectacle. He's one of the most underrated QBs in all of college football. But just when you think this Iowa offense can't get any worse, they are, what, I think they're dead last in the country in terms of passing yards per game at just 60 yards per game. Like, they bought in Gronowski, who no doubt is a good quarterback, but the trouble is, they don't seem to have given him any targets to throw at. His leading running back's injured, his leading receivers injured, one of their leading tight ends has just been ruled out for the year. And when you think things can't get worse from an offensive standpoint for Iowa, they go just that way. 254 yards, not even 100 through the air. Yeah, they got 148 on the ground, but a lot of that came from the quarterback. He's doing his best for this team, but they're giving him no help whatsoever on offense.
Nope. It, it doesn't matter if you've got a quarterback when you don't have weapons, because Iowa can't recruit weapons because they need. They don't. I don't want to play for the coach. I don't look at Kirk Ferentz and I say, I'm a talent wide receiver in the poll. Why on earth would I go to Iowa? Like I said, all they want to do is put their tight ends in line, run the ball, play defense because, yeah, it's dinosaur football. I'm sorry, but it's dinosaur coaching. And until that changes, which is not going to change anytime soon, they are not going to attract the weapons. So Mark Gronowski, like I say, yeah, he's running with a skeleton crew. And as much as I love Mark, and I thought it'd be a good move for him, I've quickly come to the conclusion. I think this is a disaster. This will kill the draft stock. Won't help it. It will literally, yeah, it's gonna take out the back like a running horse that's got a bad leg. Yeah, put it nice and easy, shot to the head.
And you can see it here, he had 11 different guys he targeted on the day. Only one of them did he target more than once. He doesn't have, Jacob Gill got 5 catches for 52 yards. Outside of that, there's no one he feels comfortable throwing to. He's trying to throw it here, there, and everywhere, just trying to find anybody to get it in the hands of. Whereas on the flip side, you look at Rocco Becht, and, I'm not going to go on any more about how much I love him and how great he is. He had 8 targets himself, but he's doing it differently. Gabe Burkle, 3 catches, 33 yards. Eskildson, 2 catches for 39. We saw this in the Kansas State game. He's lost his 2 big receivers, but he's spreading it round to a variety of guys, but he's using them more frequently. I think he's done an absolutely tremendous job, and this is a homer view from me. But, 18 of 27, 144 yards, a touchdown. It's not mind-boggling numbers. He's not throwing for 500 yards every game. He has been incredibly efficient, spreading it all over. He's made up for the loss of his targets by using a lot of different guys, so people don't know where he's going.
Yeah, like I said, the numbers won't lie up any stat sheet, but he's still coming up against one of the most robust Big Ten defense in the country, and he's not putting the ball in harm's way. He's spreading the ball around, which means the defense has to keep changing. They've got to keep moving. They've got to keep swapping who's covering who because they don't know who's going to get the ball next. If anything, it'll probably make him a better player not having one guy to go to all the time. It means he's got to get through his reads and his progressions more frequently. So he's getting better and faster at diagnosing where to go. So it's making him a better reader of the game, just having a good group of guys to go to instead of 1 or 2 guys where you know where they want to go. Because right now, you don't know where he wants to go. So you've got to show the same level of respect to all the defense. But yeah, he did nothing wrong. They didn't put anything like, say, Iowa did what they do. They make it ugly. They make football ugly, and that has been a formula for them for years for winning games. But like I say, yeah, didn't make it ugly enough to pressure Rocco. He was perfectly comfortable back there for the most part.
He's 3-0 against Iowa now. I don't know, but I would assume if he gets drafted this year or whatnot, that no other Iowa State quarterback's gone that long unbeaten against Iowa. It doesn't feel like they will have. I could be wrong, but that feels like, he's unbeaten against this big rival. And they used to kick Iowa State's ass every year until he arrived. So again, vital things in this game. Turnover margin. Iowa State won it by one. What was their turnover look? 6.4 points. They won by three. Critical turnovers. I mean, this is kind of the funny one here, right? You look at the team stats. Explosive play rate for both teams, 0%. Not one explosive play in the entire game. I think if you were going to circle any game to have zero explosive plays, it would probably have been this one.
Yeah. It's one of those games where, yeah, you just knew it was going to be one where they were just going to, yeah, both defenses, they clamped each other down.
Mm.
It's another one where managing the clock, time of possession was going to be big. Like I say, not doing anything silly.
It was. And big improvement for Iowa State. We talked about, the first week Beck got destroyed. The offensive line struggled against Kansas State. 4 sacks. Run game struggled to get going a bit. I mean, look at this. Iowa, 2 tackles for loss all game. Like two against the rush. They didn't touch Rocco Becht. They weren't getting into the backfield to stop the rushers. Hanson and Sama again working in, they were going at 4 yards per carry, working in tandem. The offensive line seems to have settled down now, and their defensive line got 3 sacks on Iowa. Those trenches, which we know them for, they finally seem to be coming together, and that's dangerous for the rest of the Big 12. When they start opening this thing up a bit, it's going to be very tough for anybody to beat them.
Yeah, they're finding different ways to win early in the season, which usually means, yeah, they're starting to click on both sides of the ball now. They've won a defensive struggle, like saying they've gone out into bad weather across the country, won what was a duel. So now they're good to go. And with other teams around them as well slipping up, we've seen multiple teams slip up. So yeah, they're probably the front runner right now in the Big 12.
And maybe we always talk about the secondary and guys to watch out for there. We're maybe seeing the emergence of one of the best safeties in the country in Marcus Neal. 3 games in now for him. He's currently grading on PFF at 87, but he had a sack in this game. They're bringing him up to Blitzball. He's at 20 tackles. He's missed 1 tackle all year, 12 run stops. He's got a pass breakup. He's a run defense monster. Like they just keep, he's a redshirt freshman this year. Only played 96 snaps last year, but you know, Matt Campbell just has this conveyor belt of talent which never stops, and this seems to be the next one.
Yeah, he's another guy where he prides himself on having tough, robust, physical, and also versatile guys. Like say, a guy that's happy in coverage, but he's also happy to come up into the box, get down and dirty, and get physical line of scrimmage. He's shown through 3 weeks already that he's pretty comfortable in most facets of the game in that sense already, which bodes well for a long, successful future.
And the guy he replaced, Jeremiah Cooper, now playing at corner, an interception, a pass breakup, just 2 receptions given up on 4 targets. Like his move to corner is legit now. His draft stock will go through the roof if he carries on playing like this. This is 2 great performances against Power 4 opposition now.
Yeah, like you say, he's definitely done very well in making the transition. That will certainly help draft stock. Like I say, playing a new position, going there quickly and holding your own very quickly at so early into the season. Very real, no real teething issues right now. He's made their move fairly effortlessly. So we'll come up, like I said, we'll see who comes up with the biggest first, like say, strong passing offense and how it does. Like I say, but so far he's passed all the tests on the eye.
Yeah, this Iowa State secondary is one to watch out for again. But this entire team, it is a Big 12 candidate for absolute sure. Moving to another ACC team that lost, and this team that they were playing from the Big 12, I don't think you're going to like very much this year. You've bet for them and against them in the pick watch, and they've let you down twice. the Baylor Bears, it was an absolutely tremendous game on the road to SMU, and this thing ended up 48 to 45 for Baylor. I thought they were dead and buried at one point, and I was going to look really stupid and I'd lost this, but I mean, we talk about a game of just beautiful attacking football. There was so many. There was well over 1,000 yards of offense in this thing. Defenses were making explosive plays, but getting absolutely ribbed all over the place. But I mean, what a ding dong affair! Backwards, forwards. SMU went up by 17 points. I think they were up at one point, and they allowed Baylor to get back into this thing. It went up into overtime. I was watching this in my car on the way home from work. It was on the screen because it was going on for so long. But that was the Baylor Bears we thought we were going to get week one. Bryson Washington obviously came to play. Sawyer Robertson threw for forever and a day. Just fantastic attacking football all over.
Yeah, this one was just, it was an explosion. Both defenses were pretty much nullified for the most part. Like I say, it was just all out carnage every time the ball went back from mouth. Like I say, it was fun to watch. Yeah, it was fun to watch unless you were Colin Rogers, because well, unfortunately, he cost them the game for SMU with three times on three big kicks. So yeah, it was definitely a game where special teams really mattered and made a huge difference because there were very fine margins. You could not pick a lot between the offenses.
No, you absolutely could not. Baylor, Sawyer Robertson, 440 yards, four touchdowns. Bryson Washington, 115 yards, two touchdowns. They didn't have the run game last week while they struggled against Auburn, but I mean, just their receiving options are insane. Like Michael Trigg, who's the main guy there, was the fourth leading receiver. Josh Cameron, 9 receptions, 151 yards, two touchdowns. Ashton Hawkins, is he the former
Kobe
Stanford?
Prentice is starting to like kick into gear now too. The former big Bama transfer.
Kobe Prentice, four for 63 and two touchdowns. Trigg was fourth, and like he was their standout last week. Like this offense, if Bryson Washington can now get going and stay healthy, and if Dawson Prendergrass ever comes back, I don't know where he is.
No,
Um,
yeah, so I'm guessing the injury's serious.
yeah, but this is the Baylor we thought we were going to get to start the season, but they've just gone to show that yes, they are that dangerous team this year.
Yeah, like I say, it doesn't matter. You stop one receiver, another one steps up. Like you say, you slow down the running game. You can only slow it down so long. And then, yeah, a sprinkle of defense. Like I say, you got a Reading interception. Like I said, they will, at the worst moment possible for you, they'll take the ball away. Someone will make a big defensive play. So, yeah, it's an offense right now that it's very hard to stop. And you're going to end up in a shootout with them. And, yeah, it's the luck of the dice if you're going to be able to keep up with them.
That
Won't be
secondary
able
is
to win like this forever. This is not sustainable. But I say
no.
at some point their defense is going to have to clamp down someone. But I say when it does, but yeah. So Robertson is certainly helping his case for interesting potential backup quarterback. Like I say, he's certainly going from a guy that would not have his name called to a guy that very well may find his name called.
I mean, there was a little bit of unluckiness in there. Like the first SMU touchdown was that was a bobble from a pass breakup.
Yeah, he's
The
fairly
kind
done.
of it just he nearly caught this thing as well. It just slipped out and the receiver had it. So there was some bad luck involved in this. But I mean, SMU, they're the same. We know the offense is going to be good. Like the defense is a struggle though. Obviously, no Elijah Roberts there this year. No star on the edge line just yet. Like that's not going to fly in the ACC with the amount of good offenses hanging around. So they need to get better. But the Baylor Bears certainly they look
They
tremendous.
needed that as well. They badly needed it.
They did. Again, staying in the ACC was where it all happened this week, and this was an all ACC affair. And for me and you, we really enjoyed this because there's quarterbacks on both sides of the ball who we really, really, really like. But thankfully, mine just came out on top. The NC State Wolfpack, unbeaten at 2-0, 35 to 31 victors over the Virginia Cavaliers, and we were behind a lot in this game, but I mean, again, offensive talent all across the board. There was nearly 1,000 yards of offense in it. Both teams rushed for over 200 yards. Two-star running back performances, two great performances from the quarterbacks. I'm going to start this one off by saying Dalen Hollywood Smothers, another of my guys to watch. Man, did he arrive in this game. 17 carries, 140 yards, two touchdowns, 8.2 yards per carry on the day for him. Had a couple of receptions out the backfield as well, but absolute behemoth monster for him. CJ Bailey, 16 of 23, 200 yards and a touchdown. He rushed for two rushing touchdowns as well, but on the flip side, right, Virginia are going to be really regretting this, giving up 21 points in the third quarter. They're up 24 to 14 at the half, but Chandler Morris coming over. You like him coming out of the group of five. He's looking again legitimate. 30 of 43, 257 yards, a touchdown, did throw a pick, but this was one of the fun games of the weekend. Backwards and forwards, offenses, defenses couldn't get a stop to save their lives to start off with. And thankfully, for me and my poor heart, we eventually came out on top. But again, just tremendous work all round.
Yeah, it was the run games as well. Both teams' offensive lines dominated when they needed to, creating huge holes for Taylor and for Hollywood Smothers. Like I said, Jamari Taylor was also outstanding. And then you had the guys, like I said, you had both quarterbacks as well, chipping in with rushing yards when it really mattered on those short downs to help convert, to help them extend their drives. So yeah, in the trench warfare, defensive lines totally struggled on the day. They really were manhandled, and it created, yeah, an interesting back and forth quarterback. Like I said, at the half, it was a fairly even game. Like I said, I thought the scoring needed to, but yeah, NC State came out of the half, exploded 21 points. And like I said, there was nothing in the fourth quarter, a bit of a dead rubber. It felt like UVA was shell shocked a bit. I think they were a bit surprised to end that third quarter. Like I said, all that momentum had been taken away from them, and they were just never able to wrestle it back. But yeah, great start from the Wolfpack this season. They look really dangerous going forward. CJ Bailey is an interesting young man to watch. Like I say, he's only 19 years old. Like I say, a true sophomore, and he's starting the season very well already. 5 touchdowns, just 1 interception. So his ratio is very comfortable, and he looks like he's got a bright future ahead of him.
He does. It's the Trinity. Smothers looks good. Justin Joly's stepping up at receiver from the tight end spot as well. The receivers are finally starting to come to play. I love what I'm seeing from them. Our linebackers are really good, but outside of that, the defensive line's got to be better. We didn't get no sacks in this one, but the linebackers are good. The secondary did get shredded a little bit, but I retain hope that we're able to do that. But Virginia have got some serious players on this team as well. Let's say Jamari Taylor, their running back, he looks tremendous. He probably was the better of the two, if I'm saying so rightly. But again, I think Virginia are going to be just fine if they carry on playing like that this year. There's no shame in losing the way they did. They were on the road as well. If that's switched and that's at Virginia, we probably don't win that game either. I think that the atmosphere just takes it a little bit away from you. Still staying in the ACC. This is not by chance. I just wrote them all down. We nearly got really embarrassed on Saturday, Ryan, because one team who we said were going to do tremendously well this year, and I said was going to win the Natty this year. Look, anything but a Natty team at this moment in time. The Clemson Tigers. The Tigers are sick right now, coming up against the Troy Trojans. They've already had a defeat this year. They're 1-1. They're coming up against some, and Troy are far from that juggernaut under John Sumrall a couple of years ago. They've been bad ever since Sumrall left. There was a big rain delay in this one as well, which didn't help, but Troy took a commanding lead early on. They scored the first 16 points, sorry, of this game. Goose Crowder passed to Trey Taylor, 44-yard bomb over the top of the Clemson secondary to start it off. Then they had a 37-yard field goal, and then Cade Klubnik got pick sixth. TJ Thompson, I think it's the linebacker, the Troy linebacker, he returned a pass just 4 yards out. Stupid pass from Klubnik when they're at their own eight, throwing a screen out. He got pick six, and it's 16-0. I think it's 16-3 when the rain delay comes. Nolan Hauser got a field goal back before the half, but they looked atrocious. But whatever Dabo said to them in the second half worked. They scored two touchdowns in the first 5 minutes of the half. First, Adam Randall had a rushing touchdown, and then Cade Klubnik with a lovely pass to Bryant Wesco Jr., who did have a very good game. He had 118 yards, two touchdowns on the day. Were able to put them in front 18-17, and then another Hauser field goal and another Bryant Wesco touchdown with 10 minutes to go sealed this, made it 27-16, and it sounds comfortable in the end, but Troy really gave them a scare, Ryan. They played so well. They were matching them in physicality. They were mixing up the play calls. They were running the ball well. And Clemson just there's no run game there at all. And that's kind of exposing some of Klubnik's flaws in that he can't also take over a game on his own without a run game. And I think the weather came and almost saved them potentially in this one, gave them the long break, kind of took Troy's emphasis away. And then it reverted to type in the second half when Dabo had shouted at them a lot. But there's something not right there right now.
No, they look a shell of themselves last year, and in a weird way, it's kind of crazy because you say they've replaced a lot of the talent they've lost. Like I say, so a lot of the holes there, there's still a lot of constants on this team, but the one thing is, you say they cannot run the ball for money. Like I say, Phil Mather was good, wasn't great. He was no Will Shipley. He was no, like I say, Etienne. Like I say, he wasn't one of those like generational guys they've had in recent years to help them. But yeah, right now they've got nothing. Like I say, and yeah, they are. Klubnik is hung out to dry in the backfield. Like I say, he's having to extend these longer and longer plays. Like I say, he's having to get through every single read because he's got no one to check down to. He's got no one to make them just sit off a little bit. Like I said, defenses, they're just a crowd line of scrimmage. They're just coming after him because he knows right now that handing it off, they're pretty comfortable stuffing anyone that takes a hand off. And it's making them easy pickings, yeah. They become very one-dimensional. It's fairly easy to read them right now. And yeah, like I said, he's forcing throws into windows that simply are not there because he feels like he has to. He feels the pressure because teams are putting on him. And I agree. If it's not for that delay, and it's not for, like, say, whatever Dabo's a great coach, right? Say if he chewed him out of the half, he said something that came out with a bit of fire in their belly, he must have, like, say, put a rocket up. And yeah, it may have been a very different game if Troy can keep that momentum without the delay, maybe get something else before the half, like say, come out of the half a little bit stronger. In the end, though, Clemson, yeah, they won the game, but they probably won't feel any better about the game. They were just purely relieved to get out of there with the scratch.
I mean, it all starts, I guess, with the run game, right? There's serious pressure now. Put Gideon Davidson in, your five-star true freshman, by all accounts, has been great in camp. Adam Randall, and yeah, time can change, but he doesn't look very much. I know he got 21 carries for 112 yards and a touchdown in the end, but he just doesn't feel like he's got the home run hit ability. It just doesn't feel right with him.
No, it doesn't feel like a guy that you can lean on, a guy that you can just ask him to go win the game for you. I think Gideon is just going to get way more looks. In a couple of weeks, like you say, he's going to start to eat into Randall's carries until he proves himself that he can be the lead back. I think he's going to have Davidson breathing down his neck a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic works in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think Dabo needs to experiment. There needs to be a little bit more rotation. He needs to give some more guys opportunities.
His defense is starting to bite, though. They did come back well. Will Helt's got another sack.
Hannigan's having a great year. He's already got pass defended, a forced fumble, and interception. So
Yeah.
secondary's feasting again.
Yeah, Avian Terrell got a sack in this one. TJ Parker got a sack at QB. Hit Will Helt his second game with a sack as well. So the D-line is starting to
Defense
eat.
won't be a problem this year. I say it's going to
No.
be in what week? How many weeks does it take for the offense to get up and running?
Yeah.
Too many weeks, they'll already be out of the ACC title race potentially.
Plus they've got the receivers. They've got the offensive line. They've clearly, the quarterback is good. Just feels like that running back room is the area where it comes
Like I
down
say,
a
they've
little bit.
had to. Like I say, they had their layup now. Like I say, the next couple of games, they're really gonna. We're gonna see the real Clemson. The
Yeah.
game's about to get a lot more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of upstarts in the ACC this year, including Florida State as well. They're looking good. You've got to be careful coming up against some of these sides. But anyhow, moving on away from the ACC for a bit, one quarterback who is having a good start to the season and his stock is going through the roof. Missouri, Ryan, winners over Kansas, 42 to 31. Another incredible game. Like it was really good fun. Kansas, in their case, it was the turnovers they really benefited from in this one. Offensively, they had half the yardage. Mizzou had 624 yards of offense, 338 in the air, 271 on the ground. Kansas only mustered up 57 yards in this, but they made plays on defense to be able to. I think there was a fumble return in there. There was, what was it? Two fumble returns. There was a safety. There was a fumble return. They kept it close, but Bo Pribula, what a move for him. 30 of 39, 325 yards, three touchdowns. He's got 200-yard running backs with him. Ahmad Hardy, another 100-yard game for him. He's got star receivers all over the show. The Bo Pribula show in Missouri is getting very interesting.
Yeah, he started the season really well. He's shown that he was probably should have left Penn State sooner because the fact is he hadn't really got any eligibility. Like I said, I think he waited too long to bide his time there and win the job because like I say, he's already a senior. I mean, he's only played 3 years, so unless he's lost some time and he's got an extra year of eligibility anywhere, I imagine if he is, he'll probably be back next year. But yeah, he started the season electric, and I'd like to think that if he has got it, I'd like to see him come back next year. Like I said, I think he can have a good year next year. Next year, if he has a really good year, I think 2027, he could be his stock could rise immensely.
Mm.
He looks
Um,
every bit of good quarterback on paper. He passes the eye test. Like you say, yeah, he's passing right now 80%, like you say, through 3 games. That's pretty tremendous.
you don't get much higher than that, let's put it that way. But he's got the running back room to do it. Not just
Yeah.
one, but
Ahmad
two.
Hard is like
But
say the best transfers in the country.
I
I
mean,
think
what's his
I
ceiling?
think he's going to be yeah.
What's the guy? What's the kid's ceiling? Like you just look at it and you think, I don't see one. He can go as far as he wants to.
Yeah, he has got yeah, right now he's one of those guys where I just look at him and think people just aren't talking about. I suppose if you look at like say sophomore, the ceiling, he's winning the Heisman or being a Heisman contender. He's a player that will be in the Heisman contention before he leaves college.
Yeah, I mean, you see, two games through the year. Yes, one was against Central Arkansas last week. Kansas is power opposition. He's 36 carries, 213 yards already, going at 6 yards per carry with two touchdowns. Um, Yards after contact, 163 of them. There's plenty there. He's fumbled once, but 15 missed tackles already forced just through two games. He carries on that. That's going to be high. Like, the kid's just a true sophomore. 5'10", 206, perfect build. Like, he may even go higher than Missouri by the time he's done. There might be top SEC teams coming in for him after this year.
Yeah. He's the kind of player that someone's going to throw a lot of money out to try turn his head out very quickly. And yeah, if it goes well this year, I would advise him, yeah, don't get greedy. If this is a good spot, just ride it out.
Yeah, absolutely you would. On the flip side, though, I think Jalen Daniels' star is dying a little bit now. I remember a few years ago when the hype was all there with him, and it's just, through injury to start with, but, 17 of 30, 161 yards, two picks in this one as well. It kind of just feels like the ceiling's been reached and it's not going much further.
Yeah, like I say, huge fan of him. I just feel like, yeah, he's capped. I just feel like he can't get over that hump. Like I say, it's not even a Kansas issue because, like I say, in the time he's been there, they've got incredibly better. I just feel like you said there's only so far he can take them.
Hmm.
Bear in mind, they'll still have a hell of a job on replacing him because he's been the face of the franchise now for years.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, keeping going on. Another pick watch one. Texas State 43, UTSA 36 did not disappoint. One of the outstanding scoring games of the week and leading rusher in the country. Another Henry coming through the ranks. He continues to be an absolute dominator. But Texas State and GJ Kinney, they're making the move to the Pac-12 next year. We said that they needed to make a statement. They're now 2-0. They've put away a very good UTSA team. They were on the road for this one as well, but this looked like it was UTSA getting back to. I mean, the UTSA were 5-point favorites for this. Texas State were road dogs here, but just again, two very good teams at the group of five level, reaching the peak of their powers. One's got a star running back, one's probably got a bit better of a quarterback there, but Kinney, he's got them going well.
Yeah, like I said, great starts them. Offense firing on full cylinders, defense doing enough to get them the ball back and put them in great positions. Doing it with, like I said, new quarterback, replacing Jordan McLeod was never going to be easy because he put some fantastic numbers at that time. But yep, the next breed's here, like I say, the offense keeps rolling, and we look forward to seeing what they do as a future big conference member. The future is bright for them.
Mm, absolutely, we do. But on UTSA's side, the next big thing at the position, Robert Henry Jr., his stats so far this year, 33 carries, 336 yards at 10.2 yards per carry, four touchdowns. That includes a 177-yard performance and two touchdowns against Texas A&M on the road last week in one of the hardest environments he'll ever play. Follows it up with another 159 2 yards against Texas State. I mean, he's on course to have an absolute monster year. You think of the Sincere McCormacks that have come out of this program, like guys who go up to the NFL and cause problems. This looks like the next one. You watch him play, he's only 5'9", but like he looks like a workhorse back in the NFL.
Yeah, like you say, a school that's become somewhat of a mini conveyor belt, as you say, for producing high level rushing talent in a rush heavy offense that's done very well, that's put up a lot of points and yardage. He seems like a next guy that's going to be in line to potentially take that belt. So, yeah, he's got a very bright future ahead of him, and he's going to get an incredible amount of workload to prove how good he is and put his putting name out there. Another guy that could be getting tapped up in a year's time.
Yeah, absolutely he will. And on Texas State side, I mean, their receivers, Bo Sparks, the Utah Tech transfer, so he's from out of the JUCO system. He was there last year, but went off a big way, 150 yards on five catches for him. It just shows a downfield threat. And then Chris Dawn Jr., sorry, two catches for 109 yards. That's a mere 54 yards per reception for him. So the big play stuff is well and alive for Texas State. But UTSA, I fancy them to do well in the American this year. I don't know if I had them winning it, but I'm pretty sure I had them in the title game. So that looks positive. They'll not come up against a Kinney offense every single week. Still a few more to get through. Shout out to Missouri State, right? The Bears take down
First ever
Marshall,
FBS
Sun Belt
win, yeah.
champions. That is their first win as an FBS team. And yes, Marshall are not at the peak of their powers right now. They lost a lot of players, but it's a road game. They lost week one. Every win is a win, and Missouri State have opened their account as an FBS team.
Yep. It just takes one win and it can kind of start a snowball effect. You get that monkey off the back, like you say, it's really hard to get that first win sometimes. But like I say, now you've got it, a little bit of faith will be created by it. It'll bolster a bit of a confidence, like I say, that we do belong here. And now, like you say, you can kick off. Like you say, now you can really start to try and make an impact. And just like I say, first year is always about building foundations. You just need a couple of wins to do that for your second year. So hopefully now this will be the first of many, and it can kind of start a good thing rolling for them.
Yep, absolutely. Good Lord, I realized just how long we've been going on. This much is happening in non-con schedule. It's been absolutely tremendous. Other games I want to point out: Hawaii 37-20 win winners over Sam Houston, playing without the first string quarterback. the backups just come in and thrown for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Chang and his team are now 2-1. They play Portland State this week, so hopefully that'll be 3 wins for them. Alejado's going to have a break, I think, and then he'll be back for the next one. But Hawaii looking good to make a bowl this year. Vanderbilt, massive comeback win from behind in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech, 44-20. I think they scored like 27 unanswered. They looked like they were going to lose this one for a big part. Obviously, Enter Sandman, the big iconic entrance. You thought Virginia Tech were going to do well. Brent Pryce in a lot of trouble there now. We'll talk about this when we're done here, but they they are done. Do you want to talk about Arizona State, or shall we gloss over that one? Because you did predict they were going to struggle, and struggle they did.
I knew they struggled, yeah. First half was horrendous. Second half, there was a better team. It was too late. And in the end, when they finally had the lead, yeah. The secondary I boasted about has been pants. Yeah, they got blown totally wide open by game. They got what they deserved. Sam has looked poor.
He's
Start of the
he's
year, so yeah.
he's. I mean, what they threw for? He threw for like less than 100 yards, didn't he, or something crazy like that? It was. It
Yeah.
wasn't
He had like
much.
one drive where, like, say, was perfect for like 80 yards on, like, say, drive to put them in lead. But other than that, yeah, not great.
He did have 200-yard rushes though, so Udo's doing what was
Rushing game's doing well, but
advertised.
but at that point, it didn't really help because, like I say, they were like 15 points behind.
Yeah. On the flip side, Blake Shappen looked good. Like
Yeah.
he's had a bit of a stop-start
He had
thing
a
there,
great first
but
half, like I say, he just knifed through Bo. Very
yeah, and
confident.
they've got some really good receivers there as well, which I didn't kind of expect either. So maybe some love for Miss State this year. Who else have we got? UCLA continue to go down the pan. 23-30 loss against UNLV on the road. We both predicted this was going to happen, and UCLA, it's crazy. They fell so far behind in this. They threatened to rally late on, but the Armaliaevo experiment is not working for them. Bruins football continues to go from one extreme to the worst. They just don't look good whatsoever. But Colandrea, I mean, God, he looks good for UNLV. I know, we were wondering what would happen with Mullen and that here, but they look like they're in decent hands with them. They've got a star running back. Colin Dreher's looking great. They've got a load of different receivers on there. The defense is the sticking point for them. It's not very good, but I think this was all about UCLA being terrible. There's nothing at all there.
No, they just look bad. Like I say, Nico looks bad. There's no direction. I've no faith in the coaching staff either. I don't feel like they're picking them up. I don't know if they've put them in the right position to do well, but yeah, nobody's standing out in the Bruins. It's going to be a long year with not many wins. Yeah,
No.
UCL, yeah, UNLV. It's been propped up by the offense right now. There's still too many moving pieces in the defense that have not gelled at all whatsoever right now. But yeah, Calandria has won the job. Thought George is out for the season, so there'll be a new backup. But right now, their offense, yeah, it's humming. Like I say, it's doing pretty well, and like I say, it's got more than enough firepower right now to keep them in most contests.
Yes, it does indeed. And then finishing off, just a couple left. Michigan State 42-40 winners over Boston College in overtime. And, you said it right, Aiden Childs. It finally looks like he's starting to come of age. 19 of 29, 231 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's got a run game that's just about supporting him. Nick Marsh continues to look incredible. But I mean, Boston College's new quarterback is amazing as well. Dylan Lonergan. He threw for nearly 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Got absolutely no help from his run game whatsoever. Two incredibly gifted young quarterbacks, right? But Childs and the Spartans, I don't know what to make of them this year. That defense is still a bit funny, but that offense, that looks kind of funky and like that might last with a lot of its Big Ten opponents.
Yeah, I think their offense, even when they come up against a stiffer contest and they ultimately fall short, I think it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be one of the more fun units in the country to watch. 'Cause like I say, it's got plenty of running backs. It's got Nick Marsh. It's got Amari Kelly, who's had a
Oh,
great
how
start to
good
the
is
year.
he? the standout for Middle Tennessee last year came from the Power Four. Amari Kelly
Great
looks,
move for him.
oh, he looks like $1 million. But Nick Marsh looks, he's the difference maker, right? He just looks, and no one's going to take a second look at him because he's at Michigan State, right?
Nope.
It's
Not until one of the big schools. Well, he doesn't feel like he's
somebody's
going to be a Spartan that long, does it?
somebody's going to come in for him, surely. Like you've got to feel that somebody's going to come in and try and have a go at him
Oh, yeah, the
eventually.
NIL he could be offered.
Yeah.
They won't be able
Um,
to match it.
No, but Charles looks great. Dylan Lonergan at Boston College, watch him. I've been, again, I don't know why, I've been watching Locked on Boston College a lot recently, and they've got a lot of high hopes behind of him. And so this is one who might emerge out of left field as one of the next big things. But he looked absolutely superb. 34 of 45, 390 yards and four touchdowns for the redshirt freshman, I believe he is. And then just to wind it in, I've left them for the end for Brent. The other Michigan team, right, they looked piss poor in their game. Number 15, Michigan, and number 18, Oklahoma. We said we needed to see Michigan play a real opponent before we could decide what they were going to be this year. And, early reports are they're not going to be very good. Bryce Underwood, 9 of 24, although for 142 yards, so some big splash plays to Donovan McCulley. One of them was about 50 yards, but the story of this game, Chip Lindsey called a worse game than what John Morton did for the Lions this week. It was. You've got 4 million a year put up in this quarterback, and that offense looked absolutely anemic. The play calling basic and predictable, and the Sooners defense was just able to tee off on it all game.
Yeah, it was not good. Like I said, Bryce Underwood, all the incompletions, like I say, he's just under so much pressure. He's getting harassed. The receivers just not getting open. Like I say, there's a lack of separation. Like I say, the pocket is getting flushed out. He's getting very flustered, like I expect a true freshman to do. Like you say, he's trying to do stuff too quickly. Or like I say, he's not getting to his reads. Like I say, so he's making poor decisions. Yeah, very poor completion percentage. Good amount of yardage. You say there were some plays where they were able to make splash plays and they were able to hurt them when, like I say, some of the receivers did win their matchups and they gave him that option to air it out a bit. But yeah, Michigan is going to be consistency. That's what they're going to lack all year. Bryce will lack consistency. There will be times where he flashes, like I say, as a potential Heisman, and then there will be a guy, he looks every bit the kid fresh out of high school. And the player calling, it was anemic. Like I say, just saying, great pickup out of the pot. Like I say, it's probably going to be the only real consistent offense they get this year. So it's an offense that's still built around strong run game that will open up passing lanes for him. So he's going to profit this year. He's going to have a monster year, I think. But like I said, Bryce, we're going to have to wait a bit longer to see him finally settle down and be a bit comfortable. But yeah, in the end, fairly light work for Oklahoma. You didn't actually have to really get out of second or third gear to get this job done. So by then they'll be very happy with their performance. Like I said, Mattia had a pick, but yeah, had a great job. Like I said, running the ball as well. He's a legit true dual threat quarterback. Like I say, he made mincemeat of that defense wherever possible.
He did, and I think there was the one pick in there, but outside of that, I thought he showcased his versatility well. And this Sooners team looks dangerous again. I think Dion Burks looks tremendous, the Purdue transfer. I know he had a quiet first year, but now he's got a good quarterback throwing at him. He was a legit game changer for them. But you've got to give Michigan's defense credit. I mean, it wasn't given a lot to work with. I mean, less than 300 yards of offense for Michigan. Cole Sullivan, as Brent has quite rightly pointed out, recorded his first sack. Um, so, it was a good day as far as he went. But there's just not the same bite to this team right there. They got no receivers. Their tight ends are injured. I think they've lost two of them now. Our big German friend isn't playing
Yeah,
at
he was
this moment
limping
in
when he was in
time,
a,
which
a
is
brace for the game.
which is a shame. But the defense, it's doing its part what it can. Like I say, Justice Haynes is doing what he can. Bryce, I'm not placing anything on him, but it's the play. The play calling looks looks really bad right now. It just they need to improve because they're just giving him quick screens and nothing else, and they're not. I don't know. That feels like the big problem for Michigan is the play calling, maybe not necessarily the talent.
Yeah, it's not putting him in a position to maximize his potential. It feels very basic, watered down, like baby food. They're
Hmm.
spoon feeding him. And yeah, at this rate, it will take a while to get the best of him if you don't challenge him.
Yeah, I think that's where it's at. But as again, they're looking good in spots on defense. DJ Metcalf looks legit in that secondary as well. That's his first year, but he's having a really good season so far. So he was one of the better defenders in this. To say Cole Sullivan played well, but yeah, for Michigan. Yeah, they have got a long way to go, but I think they've got some more cupcakes coming up before the Big 12, Big 10 season starts. So as far as they're concerned, yeah, back to the drawing board very quickly to finish this all off. Um, Easy week for your team to watch this year. UCF put down like 400 yards of rushing offense in their game. Big blowout win. Don't really think there's much we learned about them in this, apart from they can blow away inferior opposition.
Yeah, I didn't learn a right lot. Let's say 560 yards. Yeah, the run game is just, yeah, they just absolutely crushed them. Like I saying, yeah, Taven Jackson continues to prove that this season he's the man. He's going to be the guy. Like I said, once again, made more mistakes, didn't put the ball in harm's way. Like I say, he's fault free on the season. And yeah, already accounted for 4 touchdowns. So for the junior, great start for him. Like I say, UCF, their bread and butter is running the football. Yeah. And like I said, they had two guys that had just broke out massively. Nixon and Brown, like I said, 256 yards between them. So that is very productive for them. Like I say, and it's yeah. Sometimes it's nice to just have a week where you don't have to worry. You can just kind of open a can of whoop pass. Like I say, because like I say, the big games are coming up soon, and this is good for confidence. They've had a tough win, and now they've had a big explosive win. So yeah, they should be ready and up to speed now, ready into yeah, place Chapel Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really learn much either about South Carolina, although the breakout game for cornerback Vicari Swain, 65-yard punt return for him and a 42-yard block punt return for him as well. Special teams ace on the day, so potentially someone to watch in the Gamecocks backfield going forward there. Defensive line teed off on South Carolina State, but it is FCS opposition. Dylan Stewart got one, Brian Thomas got one, but we won't learn much about these teams until they start hitting their actual conference slates. So yeah, not too much going on there. Um, I think I've covered just about every game. Did you have notes on any other games you wanted to mention before we finish off with next week's pick watch?
Uh, oh, there's a big FCS game.
Oh, go on.
Yes, so it was Montana State. So it was, I believe, 2 against 3 in the country this weekend, lined up against one of each other. And yeah, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, they stay 2-0 on the year. They took down in overtime. They beat the Montana State Bobcats, who have started the year 0-2. So as a former, like I say, national title contender, it's been a pretty bad start to the season for them, unfortunately. But they've lost all the talent, like I say. Tommy Malott, like I say, so they're replacing their quarterback, but they're both replacing their quarterbacks, obviously. They've lost their quarterback, Matt Gronowski. So, yeah, the new quarterback, Chase Mason from South Dakota State, has a very good start to the year, the senior. He's already thrown for 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. He's got 70% completion percentage through 2 games. So, yeah, South Dakota State picking up where they left off last season, being a juggernaut. Did get dragged into a long battle, but we're able to see it out on the other side. Let's say doing very well in double overtime. So it was a big game for them. I say Montana State start the season, unfortunately, licking their wounds, got blasted by Oregon, and now they've gone down in double time to a now big playoff rival. So they've got a massive uphill mountain to climb now to make sure that they can be competitive in conference and make a late push into the potential FCS playoff rankings at the end of the season. So yeah, it's good. It's 2 seasons that have started very differently for 2 teams that ultimately will have the same goal.
There you go. Was it a lot of upsets in the FCS between FCS on FCS crimes this year? So yeah, we will keep up to date on that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything from week one. Again, we're not mentioning any of the teams who got blown out or anything like that. We will wait. We're 1 week away. This is the last week of mainly non-conference play, and then we're going to move on to the serious business, the bread and butter of the conference games. And with that in mind, we've got our last week of the Pick Watch in non-con season. Although some of the conference games do start up this week, and we've got two top 25 matchups to sink our teeth into, the first of which, Rye, and expectations are big of you this year, this time. You went 8-2 last week. I went 6-4, but you were only let down by Duke and SMU were screwed over in overtime, so could have been a 9-1. So we need to see how you're going to do a second week in a row. But we got number 6 Georgia at number 15 Tennessee. Tennessee kind of been playing cupcakes so far. Georgia, we didn't even mention this game, looked dog rough against Austin Peay. And I should probably give love to the Governors because the Governors beat the brakes off Middle Tennessee to score an FBS upset the week before. This week, going to Georgia, they lost, I think it was 28-6 in the end, but this was close for a lot of the game. Georgia didn't look like themselves. They were, they play against Tennessee like this, they're going to lose, but it's that Rocky Top, right? Tennessee are at home. Again, we've not really seen them tested this year. Aguiar, this is going to be the big test for him because that Georgia defense did stifle Austin Peay, although again, it's Austin Peay, but that offense looks vulnerable. Tennessee are not going to be so forgiving against them if they turn up like that again. I think this is close. A lot of people have Tennessee winning this, but who do you have? Number 6 Georgia at number 15 Tennessee.
Uh, Tennessee. I think Joy.
Oh,
I think Aguiar gets the upset.
you're going Tennessee. See, it's easy in these games to go. Oh, Georgia's Georgia. They're going to pull a rabbit out their ass and they're going to win. But from what I've seen, they've just not looked very good at all. But Tennessee haven't played anybody either. And generally, what I find, it's like Old Miss. Old Miss play a load of cupcakes every year. And then when they start in the SEC, they hit a buffer very early, like Kentucky last year. So I'm going to go for a Georgia win. I don't think, I hope Aguiar does well, but they've not faced a level of competition yet, which shows me how good they might be. So we're going to split. I'm going to go Georgia. Next up, the biggest game of the week by absolute far for me. It is the week of the backyard brawl. It is Pittsburgh at West Virginia. These two teams absolutely hate one another. And when I say they hate one another, it is on a level of hate that you might have struggled to ever come up to in your lives. The do not like one another whatsoever. And why I love this game so much, the trench warfare is some of the most brutal physical trench warfare you will see in college football. I was going through this the other day, and the list of draft picks that have come out these teams in the last few years. You look at West Virginia, Colton McKivitz, right tackle for the 49ers, Dante Stills, defensive tackle in the NFL, Zach Frazier, starting center for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Wyatt Milam, drafted in the second round this year. On Pitt's side, you've got Kalijah Cansey ripping shit up for the Bucks, Savotier Dennis and the Bucks as well. I think he's at the Bucks, isn't he? Yeah. Anyhow, Savotier Dennis has starting now in the NFL. Matt Goncalves, third round pick by the Indianapolis Colts. Patrick Jones, the defensive end taken by the Minnesota Vikings. Right. This is one of the most brutal physical games of the entire year. And form goes out the window. On form, Pittsburgh have the better team. They're unbeaten. They look $1 million. They've got one of my favorite players in the entirety of college football playing at that star linebacker position. West Virginia are just coming off losing to a group of 5 team. They've lost their star running back. Their quarterback is still bedding his way in after a career of inconsistency. On paper, Pittsburgh are going to absolutely roll this, but you know better than to just think that they will, given what this game is about. If you want trench warfare players for the next level, if you want to see NFL draft players at the next level, this is the game you watch, right?
you watch this game for talent, but Pittsburgh are going to absolutely roll this. Pittsburgh,
Believe so?
Pittsburgh are going to batter them. I think this will be a landslide victory for the Panthers.
Hmm. They say this is one of the best pipelines for NFL talent in
I
college
think Desmond
football.
Reed is going to have a monster. He's not had a huge day yet. I think Eli is still on the show right now. I think Reed takes over this week.
See, my regular brain is thinking that Pittsburgh should win this by 20 or 30 points, but I know this game a couple of years ago, West Virginia were the vastly dominant side. About to say when they had Frazier and Milam and all these guys on there, and Pitt were going through the year where they'd lost Cansey and Savachier Dennis and all those, and they walked in and rolled them down, even though they were the massive underdogs.
I don't think Mark Yell's got the stones for this. I don't think he's I don't think he's built for the
If
backyard.
Shaheem White was healthy, this would be a lot easier for me, but I know everyone's going to go Pitt, and I know I should go Pitt, but I have been a West Virginia lad at heart when it comes to this. You know what? This is why I lose at the Pick Watch every year. I'm going to have West Virginia to pull off the upset. This is Rich Rodriguez ball. He loves to run it. He loves to get physical with it. His offensive linemen should be up for it. If they get down and dirty and control time of possession, I can see West Virginia pulling off the biggest of upsets. So I'm going to go against the grain and put my guys in there. Next up, we've got the Shula Bowl. Florida Atlantic at Florida International. It's not been a good start to the year for FIU. They got rolled. They got shut out by Penn State at the weekend, although, that's, kind of tough for them to do that. But they did roll Bethune-Cookman in week one, 42-9. They're 1-1 on the year. In terms of Florida Atlantic, they are 1-1 as well. They got rolled over by Maryland in week one, but then they took out Florida and A&M 56-14 this year. Veltkamp looks $1 million there. He threw for 5 touchdowns. His favorite target, Easton Messer, is eating. Tough. These guys have had one win and one loss against opposition you would expect them to beat and to lose to, but the Shula Bowl, Florida Atlantic have owned this in the last few years. But FIU, Willie Simmons is now there. We talk about the winning culture. He'll want to win this. I want to say this is the year FIU snap it, and I'm going to go that way. But who have you got in the Shula Bowl?
I think I can only go one way, and that's the Owls. FIU's offense is just too stagnant. Keon Jenkins can just not move the ball down the field. I don't see how he can hurt them. Like I said, Velkamp's got a big arm. He's got an actual leading receiver. That just means, like I said, there's just way more potential for explosive plays, yet also turnovers. But I'm gonna go with FAU. I'm gonna gamble to come out on the right side and play a clean game.
Rightio then. Moving on to the other top 25 matchup and a massive game for Notre Dame. Texas A&M number 16 on the road against the Fighting Irish, but the Fighting Irish have lost their signature game already to the Miami of Florida Hurricanes. They cannot afford a loss to Texas A&M. Two losses like that, their strength of schedule, even if they win out and go 10-2, is unlikely to be strong enough to get in the playoffs. Even if they roll this thing out, I think it would be very tough for them. Texas A&M have won twice so far. They beat UTSA 42-24. They beat Utah State 44-22. Notre Dame have had a week off, so they rest. So Texas A&M at 2-1. But concerningly for Texas A&M, they have given up 20 points twice to group of five opposition, and specifically against the run, they've been a little bit funky. Robert Henry went off against them in week one, and you're coming up against Jeremiah Love, who was grossly underused in his first game. Freeman didn't call a good game at all. CJ Carr, I mean, this feels really tough, right? Because I like Texas A&M. I like Mike Elko and the job he's doing there, and I think this team is better than when he first arrived. But they're on the road and they've traditionally struggled in big games to get over the line. But Notre Dame, their young freshman quarterback, under a world of pressure. This is their season on the line, and it's potentially, it's just his second game. how do you, rectify that at home? You've got to put it in Jeremiah Love's hands and hope that he goes off here. Who wins? There's pressure on one and none on the other.
Night night Notre Dame playoff hopes. CJ Carr can't get it done, and I don't trust Marcus Freeman to get the Jadarian Price, Jeremiah Love balance right. And I'm a Marcel Reed believer. I think he's going to crucify this Notre Dame defense. Also, Carr's coming up against a furious defense. They've already got like Howell that's got 3 sacks in 3 games. I think they are really going to punish an inexperienced freshman quarterback on that A&M defense. So give me Elko's boys.
The experience is telling me to stay away from Tamu in a big game, but I also saw what I saw in Notre Dame in their first outing, and it's like it's at home, it's great, but there's just one team under unsurmountable pressure, and the other has basically got a free shot because this doesn't affect Texas A&M in their SEC play. They can still get to the playoffs if they do well in the SEC. Obviously, it would be good for them to win this, but my danger sense is telling me to just take the easy way and go Notre Dame, but I don't do that. So we're going to go Tamu as well. A Tamu sweep, my conscience getting the better of me there. Just a quick shout out to Brent. He goes, been watching the brawl for years. He's got West Virginia winning. Me and Brent agree. Even when they're vast underdogs, we agree. I told you, Brent, we are kindred spirits. Who else have we got? Hang on, let me get back to here. Duke at Tulane. Duke just let you down this week, or let us both down this week. They're on the road to Group of Five opposition. Tulane have looked good so far under some role. In fact, I think I may have had Tulane winning the American this year with him at the helm. Narrowly beat South Alabama 33 to 31. Beat Northwestern 23 to 3. So the offense isn't a problem.
Darren Mentor
Retzlaff
homecoming.
Yeah, Retzlaff is the quarterback there now. So, but yeah, Mensa's coming home, took a big money move there. This feels like it's going to be very emotional, this game. Duke are the power opposition, but Tulane look like the better team right now. But Duke need a big bounce back win after getting bounced by Illinois. They can't afford to lose this. Where are your feelings going here? Is it once bitten, twice shy?
Taking Tulane. I think they can cause more problems for Mensa and force more turnovers from the Blue Devils.
Duke are on their final strike with me. I'm going with Duke, and we'll see where it goes. Carolina Derby, East Carolina at Coastal. Just said Coastal struggling massively this year so far, not able to put away Charleston Southern. East Carolina just absolutely wrecked Campbell 56 to 3 in the last game, but put in a very good performance against NC State week one, 24 to 17 loss there. So they're looking good. They've looked good against power opposition. They've blown away the opposition they were meant to. Coastal Cal absolutely blown out by Virginia in week one, and we saw how good Virginia were against NC State as well. Struggled to put away Charleston Southern. Feels like the East might beat the Coast in this one.
Oh, yeah, this is only going one way. Caden Hauser. Yeah, he's going to rinse the Chanticleers, unfortunately.
We got an ECU sweep. Next, we've got mile markers Golden Gophers. They are on the road to California, and California and their shiny freshman quarterback looking really good this season so far in terms of their results. Cal have beaten Texas Southern 35 to 3. They've beaten Oregon State 34 to 15. This is going to be their first power opposition they play. In terms of Minnesota, the Gophers had their own easy win this week, 66 to nothing over Northwestern State. They beat Buffalo first week, 23 to 10. This defense looks really, really mean, Rye. Just 10 points given up through 2 weeks, although again to lower opposition. But Cal looked like they finally found an answer at quarterback. And again, the level of opposition they've played. But Jaron Kiowe Sagapula Tulele, he looks legit. This is big one. Cal at home, big test for Minnesota. Feels split in the which way this could go.
I think it's a big test for Cal. I'm backing that Minnesota defense to give the young, yeah, Sagapalua his first rough outing. I'm taking a Golden Gophers upset.
I am taking a Golfers win as well. Next up, Colorado at Houston. Colorado unable to decide who is playing quarterback. I mean, it was Caden Salter. That didn't work. They moved to Lewis, the five-star exceptional freshman, and now they're playing the other freshman there as first team reps, and Dion refuses to say who is playing. As far as Houston football goes, they're looking good. 27 to nothing win over Stephen F. Austin, 35 to 9 win over Rice. Again, first time against power opposition, but Connor Weigman looks steady. Dean Connor's looking good at running back. We know Koziol, he's got a big target to aim at. Colorado don't like these big tight ends violating them down the middle of the field. But it's Houston, and they've not done well in Big 12 play in recent years, so anything could go wrong. But, Colorado at Houston, right? Who have we got?
This is a hard one. I'm leaning towards Houston because I think Colorado, I'm yet to see behind that O-line. I'm yet to see him run the ball. I think they're still a bit too one-dimensional right now. And like you say, yeah, if it's Staub, good quarterback, he had a good cameo last week, had a great cameo. Like I said, but I don't know what to expect. So yeah, I'll take the run game if Houston gets this job done.
I've got Houston as well in the ACC. Number 12, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech beat Colorado week one, 27 to 20. And then they put away Gardner Webb 59 to 12. And they did it without their usual quarterback. Aaron Philo came in for this one and threw for nearly 400 yards. I assume Haynes King is going to be healthy for this one, but Clemson have just not looked good so far, Ryan. Georgia Tech, they're threatening to break the glass ceiling. They haven't done thus far. They are at home. They've got a Clemson team who haven't got going just yet. If they're ever going to beat them, now is the time. Are they going to do it, or is this Clemson team starting to wake up and will they put Georgia Tech away because they just don't shine in the lights games?
Haynes King runs wild on the Clemson defense. Give me Yellow Jackets upset.
Oh, see, it's just this Clemson defense I think has found its footing. I don't trust Georgia Tech in a big game environment, but if they're wrong, I'll be happy about that. Good on Georgia Tech. They've been built the right way. They play football well. And, for Clemson, it would shake up the ACC, something monumental if this was the win there. Georgia Tech have got to break the glass ceiling eventually, but I'm going Clemson. I'm just sticking with the tried and tested for this one. And then finishing off. We've got Kansas State again. Don't know how they've made it in all this time, but the 1 and 2 Kansas State team against Arizona and the Wildcats so far. They've beaten Hawaii 40 to 6 and they've beaten Weber State 48 to 3. Obviously not been tested yet. Fifita threw 5 touchdowns in the last one. He threw one against Hawaii. They've started off well, but they've not really been tested, this Wildcats team. And we know Kansas State, no matter how bad they are, when pushed up against the wall, they can still beat anybody in the Big 12. So potential banana skin for Arizona here, Ryan. Will they slip on it or will they put it away with ease and really kind of start ringing the panic bells for Kansas State?
I think it relies fully on Dylan Edwards. He could be back this week. They haven't declared it. They're still keeping the cards close to their chest. I think he makes or breaks the game. Uh, I still like the Kansas State defense. Like I say, they're getting sacks. They're getting lots of tackles. I think it'd be a huge win for Kansas State. I'm going to take the Wildcats to right their wrongs this week, I think.
Um, I don't know. I'm going to take Kansas State. I think just eventually they're gonna put a performance together and they're going to beat someone of note. So I think backs against the wall, Kansas State are going to win this week. Right, that is the pick watch done and dusted. Just to very quickly go through the fixtures because we've been going 3 hours. We've been going a long time, but this has been a very busy week. In terms of the other ranked teams, Indiana play Indiana State at home. Penn State playing Villanova at home. Oregon are on the road to Northwestern. Oh, the big one. USF on the road to Miami. Can they do it? I know they can do it, but do you think they'll do it? I think this is where the party ends, personally. Law of averages, they're going to
I
lose one
think they get
eventually.
close. I think they make Miami work hard.
Hmm.
For Miami, I might just have to. I think Miami. I think South Florida is about to come up against the best defense they've played.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Dane Jr.'s coming up now.
yeah. Bain and, oh God, not Hesse. Oh God, the other one that with the two of them are just absolutely wrecking machines. So yeah, I think this will be where they come unstuck. Texas are at home to UTEP. Oklahoma are on the road to Temple. Iowa State on the road to Arkansas State. Alabama at home to Wisconsin. Texas Tech at home to Oregon State. Michigan at home to Central Michigan. Auburn at home to South Alabama. Missouri at home to Louisiana. Ohio State at home to Ohio, LSU at home to Florida, Illinois at home to Western Michigan, Ole Miss at home to Arkansas, South Carolina at home to Vanderbilt, Utah on the road to Wyoming. I don't see or hear any upsets in there. Don't you dare say there's going to be one with my team.
I mean, I heard Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt
Oh,
on the road to
they'll
South
put up a good fight.
Carolina. South Carolina beat the brakes off them last year just after that Alabama game, so they can't deal with Lenoris Sellers. They get reverse pavied.
I
I
can't
think
hear
Arkansas
this
could
now.
shock Ole Miss. If I'm gonna put one out there, I don't think
Austin
Ole Miss are
Simmons
that
plays like
good.
that again. Yeah, he could very well be upset.
Hmm. If Florida are not going to upset LSU, I don't think there's anything in that one there. No, no upsets, no.
No, I don't feel like any.
And then one last game to ask you about. Arizona State at home to Texas State. You struggled with them last year, and that secondary is not looking as good as you thought it was.
Yeah, I think Arizona State are going to struggle again this week. If they win, it'll be close. They're going to
Okay.
struggle. I think Texas State are going to cause them a lot of problems.
Okay, well, we will leave it at that. We have gone through an awful lot this week, so thank you for bearing with us. Obviously, it's hard to talk about the entirety of the college football game in just one show, so the shows do go on a bit, but appreciate all of you. I know Brent's been in the building. Let's say Lisa, not seen Mile Marker today. Hope Mile Marker is all right. I'm sure he will watch this one back through. Danny Mack, I know, has been in at various points. So yeah, thank you to everyone who has joined us. Enjoy the backyard brawl at the weekend. I cannot emphasize how good that game is. And if you like trench players who are going to be future NFL players, please do watch it because there will be a lot of these guys coming up to the NFL ranks in a couple of years' time. Anything else you want to quickly mention before we get out of here, Ryan?
No, I just think the dream is going to end for a lot of teams this weekend. I think
It
this is the
is.
weekend where we can pretty much rule teams out already.
There, there we go. So we'll see next week which teams avoid the chop and which teams lose the head. We will see next show's coming up. The main Roar of the Lions UK podcast. We're back on Friday. We're hoping at this point it will be the preview for the Chicago Bears game. Big game for the Lions after the opening day loss. And then myself and Ryan will be back next week. As always, going over week 3 and then looking ahead to what will be the start of normality as all the conference schedules begin for the vast majority of teams and we can start seeing where we're at. And we'll start looking at some of the early stats leaders from the years as well to see who's impressed on the non-con slates. And then, yeah, the boys will be live for the Bears game on Sunday as well, so don't forget to support them. Support us at Roar of the Lions UK. You can find us all over the show. Thanks to everyone. Enjoy your Wednesday evening. We shall see you soon. One Pride.